HCAM programming is supported by viewers like you. Thank you.
And by Angels Garden Center, growing in Hopkinton since 1957.
And by Hopkinton Drug, an integrative pharmacy and community partner since 1954, providing customized compounded medication in their on-site lab, nutritional supplements, and a knowledgeable staff. Hopkinton Drug, believing food, exercise, and community, along with an integrative approach to medicine, can help you achieve your wellness goals.
This is HCAM TV.
Meeting on SB.
Okay. All right, good evening. My name is Amy Ritterbusch, and this is the Select Board meeting for December 6, 2022. I call the meeting to order. This meeting is being held in person and remotely using the video conference platform Zoom. Some members are remote tonight. Select Board member Shahidul Manan will be participating remotely. All other members are are present in the meeting room at Town Hall, room 215, 216 in person. At this time, I will ensure that Select Board members participating remotely can hear and be heard. So Shahidul Manan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, and we can hear you. The public has the option of attending in person here at Town Hall or via Zoom using the link posted in this meeting's agenda. The meeting is being recorded. All votes will be taken by roll call vote. And we have a very short executive session first tonight, so I would accept a motion to enter into executive session to approve executive session minutes from November 5th, November 21, and November 28th to allow Norman Kamalo and Elaine Lazarus to participate in executive session and to reconvene in open session at the conclusion of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
And we need a roll call vote.
Muriel Kramer, yes.
Irfan Nasrullah, yes.
Mary Jo Lefreniere, yes.
Shahidul Manan, yes.
Amy Ritterbusch, yes. Okay, so we'll be back very soon. make us live. Okay, my computer's off. Okay, so good evening again. I now call the public session of the meeting to order, and our first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, so please rise if you're able. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, and so the next item on the agenda is our public forum. We'd like to ask that each person will have up to 2 minutes to speak, and since we have a lot of people here tonight, I do have a timer that we can use so that everyone gets a chance to speak. Please start by stating your name and address, and we'll start with people who are in the room in person, and then we will call on people who are on Zoom. So if there's anyone in person in the room that would like to speak, you can please come forward to the microphone.
Good evening, my name is Robert Savold. I'm a resident of Apple Tree Hill Road, and also I am currently an employee for the town of Hopkinton in the 911 Communications, and I'm also currently the Vice President of the Communications Union. I'd like to comment briefly on the feasibility study for the Regional Center. I know tonight was just merely an update on the process, and it's scheduled to have a meeting specific to go into more detail, so I will be brief. But I just wanted to read you all a letter that is addressed to the Select Board that was written by the Hopkinton Police Union. I do have copies for all of you if you wish to have one to follow along.
That's usually helpful, I think, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This is addressed to the Hopkinton Select Board from Greg DeBoer, who is the current president of the Hopkinton Police Arbitration Association. It was dated Wednesday, November 9th of this year, and it reads as follows. Esteemed members of the Select Board, recently it has come to our attention that the town of Hopkinton has started exploring the feasibility of joining forces with other area police and fire departments in forming a central dispatch facility. I am writing you today in opposition to the regionalization of the Hopkinton Police fire call takers and dispatchers. Marketed under the guise of cost savings, regionalization of call taking and dispatch services may seem like a good idea. However, our organization has serious concerns related to the safety of the citizens of Hopkinton, as well as the safety of Hopkinton's police officers, firefighters, and paramedics. Hopkinton has consistently been rated one of the safest communities in the country. This is partly due to the excellent working relationship the Hopkinton police officers have with our in-house call takers and dispatchers, and the excellent work that they do. First and foremost, Hopkinton dispatchers are intimately familiar with our town. The dispatchers know the roadways, the citizens, and the other town agencies on a very personal level. Unlike other lines of employment or in other lines of government, police officers, firefighters, and paramedics work in an environment that rapidly evolves and where seconds count and can mean a matter of life and death. We currently have a high qualified team of dispatchers who are dedicated to Hopkinton alone and are ready to respond solely to the needs of Hopkinton in a time of crisis. The concern that a similar crisis in a neighboring town will preempt the level of service in Hopkinton is something we do not need to worry about. However, with the regionalization of dispatch, it is not just a possibility, this will undoubtedly happen. Imagine a loved one in dire need of emergency service who is experiencing one of the most terrifying moments of their life, being placed on hold and ignored because the assets in the regional dispatch center have to address several other calls for the towns that they are serving. Imagine the level of frustration the police officers will experience when they are unable to get timely information related to the call that they've been dispatched to. Imagine the liability that the town could face when a person with no knowledge of Hopkinton and sitting several towns away have errors in the job performance that put the public and its officers at risk. I have personally spoken with the members of many police agencies whose departments have elected to participate in a regional dispatch facility. I could not find a single officer, supervisor, or detective who felt that the change benefited the level of service that they provided. Every person I have spoken to made it a point to say the jobs were now more difficult and the quality of their communications from dispatch have severely deteriorated. I have been told that their community members no longer had the benefit of a manned police station and that essentially a building closed to the public from 4 p.m. until 8 a.m. The partnership between the Hopkinton police officers and the communications center has created a safer environment for its officers and the town of Hopkinton as a whole. Our dispatcher's dedication to Hopkins, its police officers and firefighters are second to none. Maintaining a dedicated communications department in Hopkins will allow our team to continue to provide you with the best level of service possible. Will there be cost savings? Possibly, but my question is at what cost? Respectfully, Greg DeBoer, the President of MassCop, Local 254.
Thank you.
I'm hoping that everyone keeps an open mind throughout this process and we make the decision that's right for Hopkinton. The only question I would propose to the board, and also Norman, and perhaps when you give your update, this question will be answered already. But we would like to know if it does come down to the decision to move forward, does the town have a say in a vote? Does the board vote on it, or is it strictly an administrative decision? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the room that would like to speak at public comment? No. There are some people on Zoom. If anyone on Zoom would like to speak at public comment, you could raise your hand now. Okay, I'm not seeing any more raised hands, but there's a lot of people here, so. Okay, I'll go ahead and close the public comment if there are no more comments tonight. And we will be scheduling a public forum for a future date, hopefully in a couple of weeks. Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to the next item, which is the tax classification hearing is not needed. That was a placeholder in case the state had recommended changes to our tax classification. Is that the reason? Norman? The tax classification is not needed because the state didn't require us to change anything?
At this point, yes.
Okay. Okay, and then next we'll move into the Regional Communications Center Study Informational Session. So when you're ready, you can go ahead.
Yes, through the chair, thank you so much. I want to thank members of the community who have stepped forward, shared their sentiments, their feelings, and their thoughts on this topic. I warmly welcome those comments. The comments that we received so far, we are taking them seriously, respectfully, as well as we're looking forward to the public informational session that we'll be scheduling later tonight. So thank you all for your comments and your feedback. On September 20th, I shared the final report on the Regional Emergency Communications Center with the Select Board. In that report, I indicated that the consultants were preparing an addendum to the final report. That addendum, which includes a 4-community rec, would require, what that rec would require for staffing, equipment, site, and costs is now complete. It was included in your meeting packet. In my September 22nd report, I also indicated that the towns of Grafton, Hopkinton, Southborough, and Westborough were continuing their due diligence. And one of the key issues that we've been looking into is the whole concern regarding the dark stations. I can share with you that as town manager of Hopkinton, I will never support a dark station. Per the addendum also, we have learned as recent as yesterday that Westborough has identified a site that is different from the one that we had looked into, so we're going to continue to look into that as part of our due diligence. In addition to scheduling the public informational session, I will be inviting members of the board as well as any interested members of the department to accompany us on site visits to similarly situated facilities. We have had several names mentioned to us, and we'll definitely be again going to conduct site visits. At this point, I'll take any questions from the board.
All right, board members, do you have questions? I think I have a few, but I need to get my thoughts in order.
So I apologize if I missed it. Can you specifically, just because we had the question and I'm curious too, can you specifically outline the decision process when all the due diligence has been completed?
Yeah. Your question is slightly different from the question that Rob asked. In terms of the town's actions following the due diligence, the town will have to decide whether it wants to sign on to an IMA, intermunicipal agreement. Under Mass General Law, an intermunicipal agreement can be signed by the select board. Also,
Sorry, did it go to town meeting as well, or just,
IMA can be signed by the select board.
okay.
However, this town can establish an extra step if it so deems necessary. However, an IMA can be signed by the select board. In terms of if the town decides to move forward, signs an IMA, applies for a grant, and the towns are successful getting that grant, part of the discussion will have to do with governance. Depending on the governance structure that is established, a town meeting vote may be required.
Through the chair. So when you say it may be required, that is just dependent on what kind of authority we're delegating?
Correct.
Okay.
So, did you already say when, are you planning a public information session? Is it a public listening session? Is that a public hearing? People will be invited to provide comments?
It will be a public informational session. We will invite comments to be shared. If there are answers that are immediately available, we will provide those answers. We will invite the consultants who performed the report. We will invite our colleagues from our surrounding towns who are participating in the study. We'll also joyfully invite the public here in Hopkinton.
I was going to say, I had watched South Bureau did this a couple of weeks ago, and I watched some of the meeting on YouTube. And we went for over 3 hours, and I think the presentation was more than an hour. Presentation itself was more than an hour, so I would hope we could kind of shorten that so that people could get their questions asked too, as well, not too long of a presentation.
So we are talking about December 20th?
December 20th was a suggested date. However, we could look at a different date, for example, December 21st.
Or after the holidays? So here's my concern. December 20, 21, 22, those are tough days for people to make plans to participate in something like this. That's my struggle with that.
Yeah. We could look at an earlier date, perhaps the 19th.
Is the 19th a Monday?
Is there a requirement to be in 2022?
Yes. Again, driven largely by the interest that we have observed, we want to make sure we get this information out to the public. And should we find out that there is need for additional meetings, definitely we'll schedule them.
Let me ask it a different way.
Yes.
What is the expected timeline of the due diligence and some decision-making process from the board?
Yeah, yesterday we had a meeting with our colleagues from Grafton, Westboro, and Southboro. The chair attended. We shared with them that we will have until the end of January to provide a response from home.
Okay.
So that's why I want to begin earlier, and if there are additional questions to be answered, we schedule additional meetings.
I'm just throwing out there for us to consider the first week of January once we're past the New Year holiday. I'm just throwing that out there to consider. I know it's very hard for me to add another commitment right before the Christmas holiday, and I want to make sure that, and if we do it the first week and that's not sufficient, that still gives us time. So I just want to throw that out to consider.
Yeah, there's a lot of interest in this right now, so I would be leaning for doing it sooner rather than later, but doing a second one in January if necessary, if a lot more questions were not answered. That's just my feeling. And I also wondered if people wanted to email, if we had a dedicated email, or if they could email to you any specific questions so they could be addressed in the presentation, questions that are still unanswered. I don't know. How do the others feel? Do you think it would be better to wait till after the New Year? Or?
So I understand the urgency in trying to get something out by the end of January. But given the number of questions that have been raised, that was just the end of January is not a hard and firm commitment, right? It's just when we said that we think we'd be able to get a response.
The other three towns seem to be wanting to move forward with an IMA and in January, and like for some of the towns have a town meeting in March, not in May like we do, so that was a consideration. That now we don't have to go by their timeline if...
Right. I mean, I tend to agree with Mario on that. Those are hard dates for a lot of people, arranging travel plans and all that. So, and I think for something like this, with all the interest we've received, I think we want as much public participation as possible. If we have, I mean, I understand the time frame, but, and we could have a follow-up meeting, but if there was something that, at least if we can take in some of the comments, and if there's like you know, maybe we can submit make the report public, and give people some time to understand what's going on, and then maybe schedule something first week of Jan.
I guess that could be an alternative where we get more of a presentation, more FAQs about it on the website in a couple of weeks.
Exactly,
Okay.
that's kind of what I'm saying, is like...
And maybe before January, have some tours of these other facilities to see what those are like?
Yes, in addition, what we could also do is have what we've done in other big projects in town, office hours, where we've clearly established some office hours to make sure that we give the information out to the public and that we are available to answer any questions that anybody may have. We can do that earlier in preparation for the meeting in January.
Yeah, through the chair, I think focusing on the right thing, which is making the information available, making sure we get the feedback from the town and in the time to process all the information. So people are saying that we immediately make all the related information, reports, documents available on our website, and also the gentleman from the dispatcher group shared some information and make that available as well, so it's completely, full story for everyone's understanding. And then the second part is, I like his idea about the email, or we can then open other venues to collect feedback from the residents as they process this information. Obviously, it's a very important topic, and for so many reasons. And then the third thing is, I don't know, it's more of a question probably, is at what point do you think we'll be able to ask some questions to the consultant and their findings or some of their analysis? I don't know if we'll have that opportunity today, or we need to have them schedule some time to answer or clarify some of those things.
We can begin taking the questions immediately. We will forward them to the consultant, and we will invite the consultant to join a meeting on a specific date.
Okay. Yeah. So, and timeline, we want to certainly respect the timeline that we have, but we don't want to rush and in a way that it's not convenient for others. I'm also looking at more January, early Jan, then December, the holiday time, and people will not be able. Thank you.
Mary Jo, did you have questions?
Well, I think there are a lot of questions.
Yes.
I would like to see something about how other regional dispatch offices work and how they're doing. I would like to know what the jobs ratio is. Is anybody going to lose their job because we regionalize? Yep. I really want to know how the public in the town feels about this.
So I agree with those points. The idea of the dark station, which I think Mr. Kwala already said, you wouldn't support a dark station, it would have at least one officer there. Okay. Yeah, the other question is too, would the ratios, like we have always two people, I believe, in Hopkinton on dispatch, and I think Southborough does not. I want to make sure we're not going too low when we have 4 towns. Westboro gets a lot of calls. So I just wanted to make sure the staffing levels would be adequate so that we'd all be safe. And let's see. And then like our dispatchers are unionized. Are they unionized in the other 3 towns? And do they have to form a different union, or how would that work? I don't know.
I know for a fact Southborough is unionized, Westboro, Westboro is unionized. How about Grafton?
Well, Grafton is not in our last call. And that's not to say they don't have their own union, it's just not.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Okay, so they might all have different union contracts, and so would they be getting the same level of benefit that they would here? And, would we be sure that we'd be hiring everybody from our department would get a job in the regional center? I guess information about the locations would be helpful if we have that. I know Westboro said they had a new location that I wasn't familiar with, and Center School is the other location option too, right? Okay.
Projected here in Hopkinton, yes.
Okay. And when we got that report from the Permanent Building Committee back in the summer, I think they didn't mention this at all as an option, so I was kind of surprised to see that there. And so I guess I want to know how that would work logistically. Because it's different to have them not in the same building as the police, or at least across the street from the fire, the way they are now. So I guess I want to know more about that location, how that would work.
Okay.
I just have a technical question. I've been getting a lot of things saying, if they have to hold, if there's a problem. I just really want to know how many phone lines, and are some phone lines going to be dedicated to each individual town, so that no town has to wait for another town dispatch first, that they all can be dispatched at this equal time. Like you said, sometimes Westboro gets a lot. I don't want to have Hopkinton people having to wait for Westboro's calls. There has to be dedicated lines for each town, and that's in my opinion.
Chair, I think those are good questions. I wasn't sure if this is the time, but I'll add a few. One is that look at the ROI model now, and one thing that struck out was we have our communication system that has not been upgraded for 30 years. Is that the right number of years? And if so, obviously, the question is why it hasn't happened for so long. But that's one clarification I needed to understand a little bit. And the second is for the assumptions that in the model was used for a number of operators in the new model, post-regionalization. Is that adequate, and how is that calculated? It appears to be inadequate at a glance, with a minimum 2 per shift, I think. So that's why I was wondering if we should wait for the consultants to explain those, or if you can pass on those, we can have a little more clarification on those. Another interesting and good information would be, I see some of the other towns who were initially approached has backed off. If they have provided any information or any letter explaining why they are backing out, that would be another good data point in my view.
Okay, through the chair.
One last thing. So procedurally, we signed the intermunicipal agreement, let's say end of January. So some towns have a town meeting and in March, ours is coming in May. If one of the towns in March says no, does the whole thing fall apart? Or do we go back to the drawing board and now look at a new regional study with 3 towns or 2 towns, or?
It sounded like we could drop out even after we sign the IMA. Is that right? But then I guess they would have to redo the
But that would change the
configuration.
The configuration of everything.
Yes, and in fact, I think this is what has happened with almost every regionalization that we've looked into.
Okay.
Where you start off with a certain number of towns and the number goes down.
All right. And then, and I guess the cost savings too, is the cost savings continue, or is it only for the first couple of years of the project? I guess I'd like to know that for the next meeting.
Yeah, I think preliminarily, these cost savings do not continue because the grant amount goes down as you implement the project.
And do we get more of a cost savings if it's located in Hopkinton rather than in Westboro? Initially, I assume we do.
I would like to believe so.
Yes. Okay, I think did everyone ask all their questions?
think so.
Okay, and if anyone in the audience or here has more questions, they should email Norman, right?
Yes, I will work with IT as early as tomorrow, set up a specific web page for it, set up an email address, and if also possible, we can set up a hotline. We will make sure that all the information we have received on this topic is on that web page.
And is this one on the website yet? I mean, it will be tomorrow if it's...
Which one?
Oh, that was in our packet, but the addendum.
Yeah, the addendum is on the website, the final report is on the website. We will include the letter that we received today from the police union.
And I think it refers to like a final report somewhere in here. Is this the final report? Or that's after the towns decide what to do?
The final report was issued and shared with the board back in September.
That's the one with more towns?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the addendum to the final report, okay. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all my questions for now.
That's all I have.
Do we want to look at dates now, or you'll send an email?
We will send an email, work with the board. Again, the idea being we will make ourselves available sooner rather than later. The board will schedule a public informational session around the first week or the second week in January.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, Chair, one last question, maybe it's just general. Norman, what is the key driver for this? Is it cost driver predominantly, or there are other reasons that led to this proposal?
Yeah, for me, the charge that we've been given is to always look for efficiencies. And as far as this project is concerned, number one, do the right thing for the community. Number two, if there are opportunities to improve the quality of service, do so. And in the process, if there are efficiencies that are gained and there are significant benefits to the community, move forward. Those are my drivers.
Okay, so I think we'll move on to the consent agenda then. Okay, so tonight, the consent agenda included approving the minutes of November 2nd, November 15th, November 21, November 28th, to accept an easement at 2 Oakhurst Road pursuant to the affirmative vote under Article 41 of the 2022 Annual Town Meeting, the deed which would be recorded following the Select Board vote, to approve a seasonal population estimate of 19,451 for 2023, which is a requirement of the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission, that we do that annually. Accept a gift of $200 to the fire department from Fidelity Charitable Donor Advised Fund at the recommendation of the Irvine Foundation, and to accept a gift of $864.58 in memory of Joan Doyle from the Friends of the Hopkinton, Library on behalf of various donors. Would anyone like to break any of those items out?
Nope.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, just a quick question. We had the public comment at the beginning, but we have a ton of people here from the public that knew nothing about the regional. So wouldn't it make more sense to have public comment now after you kind of just answered and gave them information? Or do we have to wait weeks now to come back and ask again and then have new information from you guys then?
So we do usually...
Can you repeat her question, just because people at home can't hear?
Oh, she's
It's totally fine.
The question is, could we hold additional public comment now after the presentation by Mr. Kumalo, since otherwise they'll have to wait about a month for the next meeting? How do board members feel? Would you like to...
I'm 100% okay having some public comment.
Okay.
I'm okay with it as well.
So about 5 or 10 more minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally fine with that.
Let's keep the comments.
But
2 minutes.
2 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
Just a reminder that folks at home can't hear us if we don't come up to the mic and introduce ourselves.
Yeah, that is also thing.
One thing, can we,
So if you, oh, go ahead.
Amy has just read the consent agenda, and
Want to repeat that?
I would like to move that forward and
I'll second it.
vote on it, and then we can go to this.
Okay, then we need to do a roll call vote because Shai is remote.
Muriel Kramer, yes.
Stefano Shuli, yes.
Mary Jo Free, yes.
Charlie Brennan, yes.
Amy Ritterbush, yes. Okay, so we will allow up to 10 minutes of public comment, 2 minutes per person. If anyone would like to speak, you can either come to the mic then, or raise your hand on Zoom if there's anyone on Zoom that would like to speak.
Good evening. My name is Kim Clark. I'm at 24 Mayhew Street. My biggest concern with all of this is that nobody really knows anything. I've been one on Facebook and holding a sign downtown, and people aren't even aware that this is happening, and they need to know so that they can make public comments.
Okay, so that's duly noted. We'll, and that's one advantage of having it in a month because there'll be more time for people to become aware.
I do appreciate that we need to make sure people know about the opportunity to interact with the information.
Okay. Would anyone else like to make a public comment at this time? Okay, is there any, oh, go ahead.
Shannon Casey, I'm one of the dispatchers. If you sign the IMA, is that it? Like, you can't back out, or like that's final decision, it's happening once it's signed?
We had heard that you could still back out.
Yeah, we can still back out.
Okay.
Yeah, again, similar to how the town has managed many contracts, we will always look for an opportunity to include in the IMA the town's ability to back out.
Yeah, through the chair, then incur additional cost for us, Norman, or any penalty potentially, or no?
My understanding is twofold, and this is purely secondary information. One, at the time the town decides to back out, if there are any costs that have been incurred, the town will have to pay its share. Number two, I heard indirectly this morning that if we back out, there may be implications for us in terms of other grants that the town may be interested in applying for. But I've not verified this information.
Okay. And then just want to bring it to everyone's attention, but to me, center school doesn't quite make sense. Why do you want to put the communication center for 4 towns at ground zero on Marathon Day? You know, God forbid, now you lose communications for all 4 towns and the marathon?
That's a very good question. I can assure you, we have public safety officials that really will evaluate this. The assets that evaluate this go beyond what we have internally in town. So this is an issue that will be looked at thoroughly if we move in that direction.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, would anyone else like to make a public comment? Yep.
Good evening, thank you. Patrick O'Brien, 13 Ray Street, Hopkinton, Mass. There's a lot to discuss on this, and I know tonight's not the night to do it. We're going to do it on time. Just the one thing I would ask the board is that we need to take time to think about this. We don't need it squished into a month. It's going to affect this department, this town, for many, many years to come, as well as all the dispatchers behind us, the police and fire department. So without making an opinion on which way I would go with it, I would just, again, ask the board, don't get pressured by the other towns to get this thing done by the end of the month. This is our decision to make. I think we should take as much time as we need and make sure it is thought out with all things in consideration.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the room or on Zoom that would like to make a public comment?
How you doing? Joseph Hayward, 197 West Main Street. As a former call firefighter in town, born, bred, lived here, never left. I just don't see what the need would be for another thing to be outsourced when you already have a stable and qualified people to do the job. And to put a price tag on $400,000 or whatever, I don't see it. And why? We're outsourcing too much in this town. You want to cut costs, cut some of the outsource. That's my opinion. Let the people that are hired to do the job, you know. There's too much of it. And we're paying astronomical taxes, you know. Had it. A lot of people have had it. And I don't see the need for it. That's just my opinion. Hopefully you take into consideration, even if you download map, listen to the scanners in all the different towns and see what's really going on. Then you'll get a better grasp on the volume of calls and everything. And then if you go to cutting everybody and hiring a couple from here, a couple from there, I don't think it'll work. It's too busy now. Might have worked 30 years ago. They tried regionalizing the fire. Didn't work then. So just if you listen to the volume of calls, just in Hopkinen, between the police and fire, I mean, it's gone through the roof. So just want to say my piece and my thoughts, and definitely consider not doing it, or when the report comes back, revisit it like we're going to do and go from there. But my suggestion definitely would be, if you guys could listen to all the calls and get familiarized with what goes on a day-to-day basis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else in the room or on Zoom for public comment?
Through the chair. We've had large public hearings on various topics, bike trails, the downtown corridor project, and I think maybe we need to have a really large public hearing with these companies and representatives from the other towns and whatever we need to answer the questions, but we need to do it at like the senior center or one of the school auditoriums, but we need to open it up and throw it out there.
And if we could get the dates set sooner rather than later, I think that helps people plan to attend if they know 3 or 4 weeks in advance what date it's going to be. So maybe we could consult the calendars and pick a date later this week, or a month from now. Does that make sense?
What date?
We didn't say a date. Just okay. It's important that you set the date in advance so people can put it on the calendar.
No, it's coming.
Not come back to the holidays and forget. Yeah.
That makes sense, and maybe I didn't have the audio clear enough. Did we get understanding of whether it goes to the town meeting or not?
It doesn't go by default to town meeting, but we could specify that in the agreement, was what I understood. Do I have that right, Norman?
If it's an IMA, yes.
Okay.
However, also depending on the governance structure that is set up for the district, it may require town meeting approval. In fact, if it's a district, it then requires legislative approval.
Okay, yeah. So then it would have to go to town meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, ready for the next agenda item then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready.
Okay, so our next agenda item is board and committee appointments. Let's see, so we have appointments to make for the Youth Commission and the Personnel Committee. For the Youth Commission, there are 2 vacancies and 2 applicants, so that works out pretty nicely. If either of the applicants are here, and I think I see one of them, could you both of you come to the table if you're here? Okay, and is the other applicant on Zoom, Robert? You're Joshua, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Robert Kloek? See him, but, what's that?
Klosik.
Klosik? Yeah, okay.
Just a guess.
Huh?
Just a guess.
Yeah, okay. All right, so welcome. So you've been appointed as a middle school representative before, and you're asking to be a full member now?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So so we're happy to have you on the committee. Do you want to tell us a little bit what you like about the committee and what you're looking forward to doing?
I liked being on the Hopkinton Youth Commission because we did a lot of fundraisers such as the Pride Parade and Health Fair and Family Day, and I think it helped our youth sort of enjoy themselves even though there's a lot of stress just going around. So I really liked that aspect of getting to help people.
Okay, that's great. And a decision we have to make tonight too, there's one seat that expires in 2024 and one that expires in 2023. And you're still early in your high school years, right? You could start for 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you prefer the 2-year seat then?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, so there's, are both vacancies voting member vacancies?
I believe so.
Okay.
We had 2 resignations recently.
Yes, correct. Okay.
I would like to move to appoint Josh B. Jones for the term expiring 6/30/24 to the Youth Commission. He's been serving.
I second that.
Okay. All right, and then a roll call vote?
Yes. I was just going to appreciate that you came forward. It's always great to see young people really stepping up in really substantial ways to serve the town. It's really sets a great example, and we really appreciate it. So, sorry. A little out of whack. So, Mayor Kramer, yes.
Stefanos Rulle, yes.
Mayor Delphine, yes.
Yes, and thank you for stepping up.
Yeah, Amy Ritterbush, yes. All right, thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
So, Madam Chair,
That means
I,
there's an open spot for a middle school rep on the Youth Commission, if there's anyone at home that would like to apply. Okay.
so Madam Chair, I move to appoint Robert Klosik to the Youth Commission term expiring June 30th, 2023.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote?
Mayor Kramer, yes.
Stefanos Rulle, yes.
Mayor Delphine, yes.
Chairwoman, yes.
Amy Ritterbush, yes. Okay, and then next we have the Personnel Committee, and there's only one vacancy to split, but 2 applicants. And their applications and resumes were in our packet. Are any of the applicants here? It's so Rob Faramazi and Christine Lambert. I don't know if they might be on Zoom.
No.
So neither of them are here. Do we want to appoint tonight based on the applications in the packet, or do you want to wait till one of them can come?
I'm fine going with the applications in the packet, but if any other members would prefer to put, hold off until the next time, I'm fine with that as well.
Yeah. I noticed that Christine Lambert had a strong personnel and HR experience, so I would be comfortable appointing her tonight, but I'm also comfortable waiting for a future meeting when she can come.
Exactly
Or
why.
both of them can come.
That's why I'm comfortable moving forward.
Yeah, I just want to say Mr. Faramazi has a huge resume, but it's mostly engineering, and I really think that his expertise could probably be used on a different committee in town. If he would continue to apply, I'd be very happy about that.
Yeah, we do still have openings in other committees.
I think the active question is, do we want to appoint someone right now, or do we want to wait?
I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
Comfortable
I am.
right now? Okay. Madam Chair, I move to nominate, to appoint Christine Lambert to the Personnel Committee. Term expiring June 30th, 2023.
Second.
Okay, and a roll call vote?
Mayor Kramer, yes.
Stefanos Rulle, yes.
Mayor Delphine, yes.
Chairwoman, yes, and yes, I request Mr. Sora to consider other positions. Thank you for speaking.
I agree. Amy Ritterbush, yes. Okay. Okay, next is the annual license renewals.
We'll be right back.
So this is a long one. Okay.
So, Madam Chair, do you want us to just go one by one, or is there a way for us, I guess there's not.
Let's
They're all
see.
different.
Yeah, because
They're all different.
They're all renewals.
Yeah, but they're all different too.
Everything seemed in order.
Yeah, so maybe we have to read them all though, because they're all separate, is that right? Okay. Okay, does anyone have any questions or comments about them, I guess, before we go through them?
Yes,
Okay.
through the chair. As long as was all the paperwork in order for all these license renewals, for these, everything is all on time, fees paid and all that?
And some of them did have contingencies, but they won't actually be able to get their license till the contingencies are resolved. Like the,
That were crossed up, let's say, for additional inspections, so the inspections are continuing.
okay. And I think the only question I had about was the, what is it, the tennis club, that's maybe in the second section.
Yeah, that was one, this is just 1 through 11, right?
That's it.
So the tennis club is in the second section, so we could, let's see, tennis and swim club, number K, item K.
What's the issue with the tennis club?
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
I was just wondering, because it keeps coming up every year, but is there any progress on the building of the tennis club?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen,
Though I believe sometime last week there must have been some activity at the site. I don't know if it was tied to anywhere permitted by the building department, but there was some activity. Somebody called me about it.
Okay.
So,
I go by that when I go mountain biking, and for the first time I saw earth-moving equipment out there, and some earth moved, so.
And it's not like our last liquor license or anything, right? I hate to hold a license for them if they're not ever, it's been years.
Is this the tennis?
Tennis club, yeah.
Yeah, but so it's not our last one to give out, right? They're still, if there were another company that was ready to build tomorrow,
Nonetheless, how long have they held a license?
What's it?
How long have they held a license?
Years, yeah.
Several years, yeah.
several years.
How many years, just for fun?
I've renewed it as long as I've been on the board, so. It's 5.
Yeah, with no building and no activity, I guess I don't understand it, to be honest.
Is there anything up left? Are we running out of licenses, or?
I think we're not out, is that correct?
Yeah, it depends on we have different types of licenses.
Yep.
The ones that were usually tied to another Section 12s, but other licenses, yes, we have it.
Should we do?
Additional to give.
Sorry, say it again.
The one license where we get tied on, but did receive some relief because of the recent census data are the Section 12s, the all alcohol.
Okay.
The other licenses, I believe we still have some to give.
I'm sorry, so I'm not sure, tell me about this particular type of license. Do we have others of this particular type of license?
This is a
Which one?
general on-premises all alcoholic beverage license.
For the tennis club?
Yes.
Is there anyone that wants that license? Let me just put it that way. Is that license, like...
Keeping somebody else.
Yeah, is that preventing someone else from getting a license?
Well, they didn't apply, I guess, right?
Yes, we have not received new applications.
But if we received one, we would have a license to give?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
But if we received one, we would have to turn them down because if we approve this, we don't have one.
Let me look into that. We don't have one, I just want to make sure that's...
Do we have to vote on that one today, or
We hold it.
can we hold it and vote on it renew it at the next meeting? Or would it expire and
Well, it expires at
Yeah,
the
when is the next meeting?
end of the
Yes.
month, so we have one more meeting.
Yeah, one more meeting in December.
Okay.
My concern is, I understand, we don't want a license to be sitting around and not being used, and not deprive others if there are others. But at the same time, I'm thinking, business model such as this one is pretty large, right? So, if we don't give the license, that may jeopardize their business model altogether. And do we want to do that?
And I have seen activity.
Yeah, I appreciate all that, I bet it's way longer than 5 years. I bet it's decades. We're talking about. And that seems a little extraordinary.
Well, we could ask them to just come to the meeting in 2 weeks and give us an update, I guess.
Yeah.
But I was getting ahead of, we have a whole bunch of other licenses before we get to that one.
Okay.
We'll just deal with that when we get to it.
Okay.
So,
Did we skip ahead to that one?
Yeah,
while I was out of the way?
I have another contingency problem. Under Chapter 140, Hopio and Muffin House owe taxes. And I know in other ways, like builders cannot get any permits unless the taxes are paid, etc. And so I really think we need to hear from the collector of taxes that these taxes are paid up before we give them a permit.
I think Elaine said some of the things were cleared between when the packet went out and tonight.
Yeah.
None of the text.
None of the
The taxes have been paid, so I think we hold those permits until they are.
Okay. And if we approved it tonight with the contingencies, would it not take effect till they cleared their contingencies?
We hold the license until the text are paid.
Okay.
It's only fair, that's what we do everybody else in town. Huh?
yeah, let's just do that. I mean,
So we can vote on the
we can vote to renew
and
it.
they won't actually get to pick up their license.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, that would be necessarily true.
Yeah.
We couldn't give them a license until their taxes are paid. Does that work for you, Mary Jo? Or?
Vote them with the contingencies? They can't really get their license till they're.
No.
You'd rather wait till next week? Or?
Yes, I've been an assessor and was part of making the law that says that taxes have to be paid, and I've seen people go years on a contingency, and then pass the taxes on to the next owner or somebody else, and it's not fair. We make everybody else pay their taxes first. So we should do that here. We shouldn't do it differently.
Go ahead.
That's just my opinion.
Through the chair, do we have any of these entities paying taxes? Did you get them?
We have two businesses that have not paid, that are not paid up on their taxes.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. We definitely want to enforce and get the taxes on time. But if time is an issue, we can do a contingency. But I'm okay with it.
Okay. All right, so how do we want to proceed here? Do we want to make the motions one at a time? The ones, do you know which ones you want to hold? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
I'm sorry, through the chair.
I'm sorry.
I am okay doing it on a contingency basis. Now, that means that at the end of the year, if they haven't paid their taxes, they don't have the license, correct? I mean, they have to pay their taxes in order to get it. It's not like a contingency takes them forward into the year.
We do not issue the license until the contingency has been fulfilled.
So, Mary Jo, I totally respect your position, but I'm okay doing a contingency plan. I just want to throw that out there. Which I'm okay with that.
I mean, I think people know that they have to be done by a certain time, and we've given them time to do it, and, you know, I don't know how many bills they haven't paid yet, but, I just think we make builders and everybody else pay their taxes first before they're allowed a permit, and I think we should do it for everybody.
So through you, Madam Chair, I totally understand your opinion and your feeling on this, and I sort of do see the way to differentiate. I think builders sometimes do the contingencies and then would get the profit. Right? These are small businesses that have been under stress in town, and they can't get the license until they pay their taxes, so I don't see it. That's just me. I'm okay moving forward with the contingency. But it depends on the rest of the board.
Muffin House certainly is doing a great business.
okay. So first we have to do the Section 12, all alcoholic on premises and associated licenses.
Okay.
So, you want to make the motions one at a time for each business then?
Sure.
Do we have to do
Should we do all the renewals?
Yeah, we haven't done any of them, so.
We should do the renewals. I think we can do them as one. They're all renewals. They're not,
They have contingencies. But they have contingencies, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll read them out with contingencies. All right, so, Madam Chair, I move to renew the annual licenses for the businesses with Section 12 on-premises all alcohol beverage licenses with associated licenses as noted in the summary document in the packet with contingencies. So that would be for 110 Grill, and the contingencies of fire, building, and electrical inspections. Carboni's Restaurant with the contingencies of electrical and building inspection. Scanlon LLC doing business as Cornell's Irish Pub. Contingencies of fire, building, and electrical inspections. P&L Inc. doing business as Dynasty Restaurant.
No contingencies for Dynasty, they got other people.
Yeah, they got it together. Triad Development and Management LLC, that's the Hopkinton Country Club, that's the one that, Hopkinton Country Club, the contingencies are fire, electrical, and building inspections. Co Inc. doing business as Co Restaurant, contingencies of fire, building, and electrical inspections. O&T Inc. Doing business as Pan Thai, contingencies of fire, building, and electric inspections. Zio's Quattro Inc. doing business as Quattro and Bison Burger. The contingencies there, the property tax is owed.
No.
MV tax is owed. Fire and building inspections. And Saris Corporation doing business as Bill's Pizzeria. The contingencies of fire, building, and electrical inspections. DKW LLC doing business at Central Public House, contingencies of building and electrical inspections. We said we're going to skip over Hopkinton, right? Tennis and swim club.
One correction, so for Bill's Pizza, the building electrical inspections have now been completed.
Okay.
That's on the list we just read? No, not yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so
Can I get a second?
oh, yeah.
Oh, is that it? Okay. Okay,
I
so
think
maybe
that's it.
second?
Am I right?
Second.
Okay. All right, so all in favor, roll call vote?
I have a question. Is this just typical that we have so many contingencies at this point of the year?
I believe yes. The reason being, inspections take longer because during an inspection something comes up, and also now given all supply issues, that's what we are hearing from contractors. I couldn't get to X because I don't have the part to fix Y.
So they come have an inspection, something has to be fixed,
Yeah.
like a fire alarm or something. Okay, and then,
And these also, you know, if they're not done in December, then their licenses suspend?
Correct.
Yikes.
However, all the businesses we've worked with over the years make it by the calendar year.
Okay.
I remember only one or two instances where the business could not get the contingency fulfilled by the beginning of the year.
Okay.
And from your experience through the chair, do you think the time remaining is feasible for removing all these contingencies practically?
Yes, I believe so. Personally, I'm familiar with the outstanding inspections.
okay, so they have time. Okay.
Well, they know this is coming every year. It's not a surprise, right? There's no new processes here.
Okay, so Irfan has made a motion.
I second it.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Well, I mean, with the exception of Quantro's taxes.
Okay, so Mary Jo would like to pull out
Yeah.
Quantro's since it's
Yeah.
for the following week? Is that? Other people?
I mean, we have the contingency there, right? So they don't get the license until they meet the contingency.
I think we have a motion on the table with second, right?
Yes.
So Mary Jo suggested an amendment to the motion, and so,
Yeah. It's okay if we vote it separately. It'll be quicker than...
I don't mind voting it separately either, so.
okay, so we'll remove for now Zio's, and we already removed tennis and swim for now.
Yeah.
Okay, So a roll call vote on the others?
Muriel Kramer, yes.
Rufanis Rulli, yes.
Mary Jo Rafferty, yes.
Charlie Hunnam, yes.
Amy Ritterbush, yes. Okay, then, if you want to make a motion on the ZOs then? Or do you want to hold it for 2 weeks?
So, I mean, so Mary Jo, you wanted to wait on that one until they pay the tax? I mean, they don't get their license until they pay their taxes.
I think we have to let them know that
That's what the contingency
they
is.
need to pay their taxes to get their license. I don't care if it's a phone call or it's a notice, but I think that the reason being, they have to know the reason being, and the reason being, I can almost guarantee that they paid within the week.
If I may, oh, sorry.
No, I was just clarifying to the conversation. Isn't the contingency supposed to handle that, or what is the?
Yeah, it doesn't. It's supposed to, but it hasn't.
Yeah, beginning tomorrow morning, we call all the licensees, walk them through the approval process, identify the contingencies, and explain to them that it's important that they comply or fulfill the contingency before the end of the calendar year. So yes, a phone call will be made, emails will be sent, we'll be in consultation with all entities that have contingencies.
So I'm comfortable approving ZOs tonight with the contingencies, so you could just make a motion and see how it passes.
Sure. So, Madam Chair, I move to renew the annual license for ZO's Quattro Inc. For the Section 12 premises all alcohol beverage license with a contingency of payment of personal property taxes, MV taxes owed, and fire and building inspections.
Second.
Okay, and then we need a roll call vote.
Muriel Kramer, yes.
Rufanis Rulli, yes.
Mary Jo Rafferty, no.
Charlie Hunnam, yes.
Amy Ritterbush, yes. Okay, and then Tennyson Swim, we'll see if they can come to the next meeting and give us an update.
Give us an update, yeah.
Okay, so the next one is all alcoholic beverages license, common victualler license, and entertainment license.
So, Madam Chair, I move to renew the Section 12 on-premises all alcohol beverages club licenses, common victualler license, and entertainment license for Woodville Rod and Gun Club, with the contingencies noted.
Okay, just
Fire
the fire
inspection?
inspection.
Okay.
Okay, is there a second?
Okay, second.
Okay, roll call vote?
Muriel Kramer, yes.
Rufanis Rulli, yes.
Mary Jo Rafferty, yes.
Charlie Hunnam, yes.
Amy Ritterbush, yes. Okay, next we have the Spoon Wine and Malt Beverage license.
Madam Chair, I move to renew the Section 12 on-premises wine and malt beverage license, common victualler license, entertainment license for the Hopkinton Spoon.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote?
Muriel Kramer, yes.
Rufanis Rulli, yes.
Mary Jo Rafferty, yes.
Charlie Hunnam, yes.
Amy Ritterbush, yes. Okay, next is Farmer Brewery Pouring Permit.
Madam Chair, I move to renew the Section 19C Farmers Brewery Pouring Permit License, Common Victualler License, and Entertainment License for Start Line Brewing with the contingencies noted.
Second.
Muriel Kramer, yes.
Oh, I think we have to say the contingencies. right?
Yeah, I was actually just looking it up.
Sorry, fire inspection, building and electrical.
For fire, building, and electrical inspections.
Okay, so, do we have a second? Okay.
Second, yeah.
Okay, and roll call vote.
Muriel Kramer, yes.
Rufanis Rulli, yes.
Mary Jo Rafferty, yes.
Charlie Hunnam, yes.
Amy Ritterbush, yes. Okay. Number 5.
Okay. So, Madam Chair, I move to renew the Section 15 all alcohol package store licenses with associated licenses, if any, for the following businesses. That would be Jai Schiff Okmara Inc., doing business as Hopkinton Wine and Spirits. Siegel & Sons Investment Limited, doing businesses as Marty's Fine Wines. No contingencies. Belladora Corporation, doing business as the Vin Bin. The licenses, do I need to list out all the licenses that they're seeking? I know that they're listed here. Okay, so Jai Shiv Okamara would be the package store all alcohol beverages. Siegel and Sons would be all alcohol beverages, common victualler, entertainment, recorded music and amplification system. The Belladora would be package store, all alcohol beverages, common victualler, entertainment, with no contingencies. Then Rashmi Corp., doing business as Country Farms, that would be a package store, all alcohol beverages license,
No contingencies.
and no contingencies.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Mayor Kramer, yes?
Rafanas Rula, yes.
Mary Jo Griffin, yes.
Try yes.
Amy Roderbush, yes. Okay, number 6.
Madam Chair, I move to renew the Section 15 wine and malt package store license for All Town Fresh. There are no, so that would be just a package store wine and malt beverage, no contingencies.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Mayor Kramer, yes?
Rafanas Rula, yes.
Mary Jo Griffin, yes.
Try yes.
Amy Roderbush, yes.
Madam Chair, I move to renew the common victualler license and associated licenses, if any, for the following businesses with contingencies noted. So that would be Hopkinton Spoon, Inc., doing business as The Spoonery. The licenses are common victualler and entertainment, recorded music, no contingencies. Hop Yo, the licenses would be common victualler, entertainment, they have 2 TVs and recorded music. The contingencies are building and electrical inspections, personal property taxes, and water bill load. Hopkinton Donuts, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts. The license is common victualler, and the contingencies are fire and electrical inspection and building inspection. The Muffin House, the license is common victualler, and the contingencies are personal property taxes owed. Aramark at Dell, that's a common victualler license with no contingencies. Sproul Ventures LLC, doing business as Blue Square Pizza, the license is common victualler, and the contingencies are building and electrical inspections. And South Street Donuts, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, it's common victualler license with no contingencies. Price Chopper Operating Co. of Massachusetts, Inc., that's a common victualler license. The contingencies are fire, building, and electrical. Angels Hilltop Cafe, the license is common victualler, and the contingencies are personal property taxes owed, fire, building, and electrical inspections. Starbucks Corporation, doing business as Starbucks Coffee. The license is common victualler and entertainment with recorded music. There are no contingencies. And then Hiller's Pizza, it's a common victualler license. The contingencies are building and electrical inspections.
Second.
I'll just note that Angel's Hilltop Cafe and Dunkin' Donuts at 78 West Main completed the building electrical.
Excellent. So I would accept that as an amendment to the motion.
Okay, great. Okay, there's a second.
No, their taxes.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, and then we need a roll call vote.
Mayor Kramer, yes?
Rafanas Rula, yes.
I'm going to abstain until 3 of them, to ensure that the taxes are paid.
Okay, Shelley Dole?
Try yes.
Amy Roderbush, yes.
Okay. Number 8. Madam Chair, I move to renew the Class 1 license for Bulldog Fire Apparatus with the contingencies noted.
Second?
Actually, there's 4,
Did I miss it?
Yeah.
This one?
there's 4 auto sales.
Right home.
Victualler, and then Bulldog,
What do you have?
and then after that is
4
Whitehall.
of them. You have it separated out, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Class 1 and 3 are class 2.
Oh, okay, sorry. All right, so you make one motion. Right.
Yep.
And it says both contingencies and no contingencies.
The contingencies noted,
So do we know?
I'm just looking. Bulldog Fire contingencies would be building and electrical inspections.
Second.
All right, roll call vote.
Mayor Kramer, yes?
Rafanas Rula, yes.
Mary Jo Griffin, yes.
Try yes.
Amy Roderbush, yes. Okay, and then the other three are together?
I still have them for Whitehall, Able, and HOS.
Sorry, it's...
Yeah, class 2
Just here.
licenses.
I'll just keep going with what I have.
Okay, Whitehall and Main Street are together, it looks like the next two,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, I see it. Madam Chair, I move to renew the Class 2 licenses for Whitehall Auto Sales, WSAB Enterprises, and Main Street Service Center with the contingencies being, no contingencies for Whitehall Auto Sales, no contingencies.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote?
Mayor Kramer, yes?
Rafanas Rulli, yes?
Mary Delphine, yes.
Yes.
Amy Roderbush, yes. Okay, now...
Madam Chair, I move to renew the livery license for Able Limousine with
Did we do Whitehall Auto Sales?
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
didn't I? Yeah.
What's the WSAB? Like,
The USAB is next one. So, let's see. Able Limousine, are there any contingencies? So the contingencies there are building electrical inspections.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote?
Mayor Kramer, yes?
Rafanas Rulli, yes?
Mary Delphine, yes.
Yes.
Amy Roderbush, yes.
Lastly, Madam Chair, I move to renew the municipal street license to the Metro West Regional Transit Authority.
Second.
There are no contingencies.
Roll call vote?
Mayor Kramer, yes?
Rafanas Rulli, yes?
Mary Delphine, yes.
Yes.
Amy Roderbush, yes. Okay, but I don't think we did this Donald Crawford doing business as WSAB Enterprise.
There's one in there that we missed.
Did we?
Because I thought so. There was a 1 and then 2, so we had 3.
So there's Whitehall Auto Sales, WSAB Enterprises, and Main Street Service Center.
Let's ask that. We got them? Okay. As long as we have them, I'm...
Okay, I didn't hear us do that one, but okay.
Unless we can do it like a Boston accent.
It's something, you know what, let's leave the Wi-Fi. That's where we'll go with that. Not that we weren't paying enough attention.
Okay, all right, so now we move on to new employee introduction, so thank you for your patience. Okay, so the fire chief will introduce firefighters Tyler Doolin and Matt Burge to the community.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. I'll make this quick. I'd like to take this time right now to introduce our two newest members to Hopkinton Fire. To my right is Matthew Berger. To my left is Tyler Doolin. We'll start with Tyler. Tyler comes to us from the town of Holliston on their call department. Holliston's as a call firefighter with Holliston. Tyler has some really good news. She just passed her paramedic national and state certification, so she's a newly appointed paramedic. So congratulations to Tyler. That was this week. Very long battle with that. Matt has a lengthy resume. He has over 10 years as a paramedic. Matt comes to us from Hopedale. He's also served in the military and the Navy from '99 to 2006. So I'd like to welcome both of them to Hopkinton Fire.
Okay, well, thank you and welcome. We read through your resumes and the information in the packet, and we're happy to have you with us. Do board members have any questions?
Yeah, my favorite question is that we'd just like to hear your voices and introduce yourself to us. Obviously, we receive you with a lot of appreciation. We're excited to have two outstanding candidates and so forth. But if you don't mind, introduce yourself a little bit to the community and tell us why you're excited about working with the Hopkinton Department.
So I'm Tyler Doolin, and I'm very excited to continue to learn and help the community and start my career as a career firefighter.
Great, welcome.
I'm Matt Berger. I'm excited to be here and excited to continue with the new adventure in a new town and continue to expand my knowledge as well.
So, Matt, I'd like to thank you for your service.
Yes.
and welcome aboard. I think it's very exciting, a recommendation from the chief. Certainly means a lot. We read through your resumes and really impressed. Tyler, congratulations on passing your paramedic exam. I feel safe having a heart attack now.
Don't even joke, man.
And we're glad to steal you from Holliston, even though I came from Holliston as well.
Joe?
You both work for other towns, and so my only question is, why Hopkinton? Why did you decide to come to Hopkinton?
So I worked on Holliston as a call department, and I really wanted to expand, grow my knowledge, and I've been in paramedic school, so I was looking for a department that offered an ALS service. And I grew up in Holliston, so I'm kind of like familiar with the area, so that is why I chose Hopkinton.
Thank you.
Great.
Hopkinton is much bigger. I know quite a few of the people over here in the department as well, and I'm just glad to be able to come over and work with them as well.
Okay.
So you do it
welcome.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your service and for your interest in choosing Hopkinton. I'm excited to see you serving our town, and all the accomplishments that you have are really commendable, and we're happy to have you, so welcome, and I look forward to seeing you.
And we're a growing community, so hopefully a lot of opportunities for you to grow and continue in your careers. So thank you. Okay, we don't need to make a motion, or do we need to affirm the appointment?
No.
No? Okay.
Well, welcome and congratulations.
Welcome to town.
Do we want to do a photo? We have one more person to meet tonight, too. Or later?
Are you going to wait to take a picture?
Or maybe later after the...
Before they run away?
Yeah.
It's one more person.
No, I know, but I just wanted to catch them so we can get a picture.
Do you want a picture? We have to.
Yeah, I mean, we can wait till after the next week, we do it all together, or we can do it separate?
Let's just do it now.
Okay, do it now.
Let's do it now.
Here we go.
Careful, it's not what you want to cut, otherwise she doesn't jump right there.
What's going up there? There we go. Jump on in.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you both. Thanks so much.
Congratulations to both of you guys.
All right, so next on the agenda, we will recognize Francis Fran Clark for his service to the town as a firefighter for the past 39 years, and Fran retired on November 23rd.
He's not here.
He's not here tonight. Okay. Well, we really appreciate his service to the town, and hope he really has a wonderful retirement. Anyone like to add anything?
He's just checking to see if he's here.
Oh, he might be on Zoom, or...
No, I think he might be in the hallway.
Okay.
Is he?
Would you like to tell us a little bit about Fran Clark?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about Fran Clark?
I can. Franny's been with the department for, I believe, 38 or 39 years. He's been a lifelong resident, started here as a call firefighter, worked right to his max of 65. So Fran had no time left and served the community well. He was part of the District 14 Tech Rescue Team. He was part of the District 14 Dive Team. He was a coordinator and an admin for both of the teams. So Fran has a long history here within the department.
Okay, well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Not going to quite be the same without him. It's quite something, it's quite a tribute. We've had a couple, a police officer and now a firefighter that sort of had to be like shown the door because of age. And we understand all those reasons and so forth, but it'd be remiss not to say how much we appreciate his lifelong dedication to this town and our shared safety. So really.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
39 years is really hard to replace.
It is. It truly is. And the knowledge that comes with that is amazing.
Exactly, the institutional knowledge and just the stories that come along with it.
You've seen the town grow.
I know Fran and the whole Clark family, of which other members have been part of our fire department for many years, and they've done a lot of dedicated service to the town of Hopkinton. Fran has always been a friend, and come sat with me if we were in different places, and just, hi, how are you, how you doing, and just always there. And the fire department is going to seem different without Clark. But I know he's living elsewhere, and I appreciate the fact that he commuted for a while, and just to continue to be part of the town. And I will miss him very, very much.
I will pass that along.
Shall I do it?
Yeah, I'll echo the same. Thank you, Fran, for your wonderful service and lifelong dedication. We are grateful, the town is grateful for keeping us safe. And it's a huge commitment, your lifelong served here. I can only imagine, and have nothing but reflecting your goodness and congratulating you for a lifelong wonderful service. The town is grateful, very grateful, and have a wonderful retirement. Good luck to you.
It really says something when someone waits till they absolutely have to retire. They really did a job, and they didn't. A lot of people are looking to retire early, so that's a great sign for our department, and I'm sure you'll miss them. All right.
If I may. Yeah, through the chair, Chief, a message to Fran on behalf of town hall employees. We will certainly miss him. We congratulate him for his retirement. Personally, I will miss his leadership, his camaraderie, and the passion that he brought to the specialties. Every time there was a technical dive team exercise out here, he would invite me, so I will certainly miss that.
I will pass that along. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and then, so there's two updates from the police chief. One is the update on the department's work, which I think Norman said he would do that first, and then we'll do the new police officer.
Thank you, yes.
Okay. And you have a slide presentation, so does Ben have that? Yes, he does. Okay.
So through the chair, I'd like to thank you for giving me some time to come before you and discuss a few things. Tonight, I'm going to discuss where we are, where we're going, and how we're going to support everyone always, and really outline the vision of the department and where it's going to go to as we move forward. I'd also like to thank you for flipping the time so that I can revel with Augusto and his family after we introduce him, so I appreciate it. So, right now, for me, I have to look at, as we build out the department to full staffing, what's that going to look like, what the specialties are going to look like, and what the command structure will look like as it relates to our needs. We've seen the town is growing at a faster rate than we anticipated. We're seeing workload growing within our department, and a lot of things have changed very rapidly recently. So you can go to the next one, Ben. So there's a current focus on these key buckets or tranches of things that we're working on within the department that directly relate the community the police officers, and the work that has to be done within the department. We have to work on, we're always continually working on community engagement and trust building. In this community, that's a high expectation that we're in the community, interacting, and that helps build trust that really is how we're able to serve at the highest level, because without the community, we can't police. You know, we're not a military, we're your police department. So we have to work on that, and some of the key things we're working on that is we have a recently established social media team, and I was impressed at how many people wanted to be a part of it. It's actually a big group to manage, and there's a lot of excitement around it and a lot of energy. Always the Boston Marathon is important for us to protect our brand and the community's brand and image, because we don't want to look militaristic, but we have to provide a SEAL 1 level event security plan in a New England community, you know, on a town common and in a school. So that's a big deal, and we very much care how that impacts our community and how we welcome people from all over the world. We also have the backdrop of our strategic goals, and each year we carve out which of those we're going to put the majority of the focus on, but always working towards the completion of those strategic goals that outlined in our 5-year plan. We have body-worn cameras, and that again goes towards a community education and trust, because we're going to be bringing them in. The union has agreed. We know that, I'm confident that it's going to exonerate more than find any problems. These officers we have are tremendous, and they're out there doing good work every day, and when someone says that they did something, we're going to be able to document exactly what happened. But that's a huge undertaking. That's a lot of man hours to manage once we get it in, and it's a big project to take in. The other focus we have is officer wellness. In our industry, suicide is through the roof. We're seeing a lot of people leave law enforcement, and the job is stressful. It's very stressful. It's much more stressful than it was when I was a newer officer, and the expectations are much higher. So we're working hard. I'd like to take a moment to thank Mr. Khumalo and his work with Senator Spilka on getting an earmark specifically for care programs within the department, and Officer Sergeant Burchard is working with Youth and Family Services to deliver that. And that sent a big message to me that you do care about the men and women, you all care about the men and women, and I'm grateful for that. So to do that, we have wellness programs, we have a wellness team. Some of the members are here. They've done some fitness programs that I've benefited from personally. There's been newsletters and articles and information sharing. We've held multiple trainings on suicide awareness and how to react if you believe someone is experiencing suicidal ideations. And it's a constant theme now for us to take care of each other. Recruitment and retention. Tonight we're bringing an officer. The department, Human Resources, thank you, have been working tirelessly on recruitment, but we also have to work on retention, and we'll talk about that. And I'll talk about how proud I am in the next session where we're bringing officers in that are being recruited from within. It's not a recruitment campaign, it's not a signing bonus, it's not a job fair. They're going out and finding who they want to be their peers, and the people, you've seen the people that we're bringing forward, it's incredible. So that's very good. Part of all of that is staff development, because we need to develop succession planning. We need to have a bench depth. So I can't be the only one that knows how to do everything. The lieutenant can't, the deputy can't, and we need to do staff development. And part of that, it leads towards professional development. If you're an officer working with somebody on a working group for the marathon and learning intelligence about the marathon, or chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, explosive teamwork,
you're learning something that you wouldn't normally learn if you were just out on the road patrolling or just going to a class on a core topic. So we want to offer that opportunity, and I believe that goes towards employee enrichment and wellness, because the more you thrive in a job, it just makes the better workplace, and I've been the benefit of that, so speaking from the heart. We have a lot of technology. I've only listed two. One, Pro Phoenix, is a big undertaking we're doing now. We switched our records management system and our computer-aided dispatch. It's going to push more technology into the cruisers, and it's also on the back end going to also support building community trust through data sharing. There's a team that was developed recently. They've received training, and they're going to go out and help push this Pro Phoenix to the limit. We have weekly meetings, and we're pushing them every week to keep bringing on new modules to get more out of it and to make it more operational and more suited for our department. The reason I bring the drone program up is to really, it's interesting. People like drones, but we have a drone program. There are officers who are working through the program to become a pilot. Mr. Kamala has worked with town council to get the certifications that we need, and Elaine with the insurance, getting it registered and stuff. So much work is done. It's just kind of exciting, and a moment for me to thank Middlesex Savings for the gift that allowed us to buy that. But we have their technology. When they're in their car, they write tickets with them on electronic tickets, like on a piece of paper. They can print things. They can get everything they need right in the car. We have the resistant camera system. There's a huge technology need within the department. So I have to factor in how many man hours do we spend working that technology versus spending time with officers or spending time with the community. And policies and standards, I mean, that's a core function of the command staff. We have the Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission that mandates particular standards, and they have governance, and they certify and decertify police officers, including myself. We're through the letter H now, and all the officers in the department through the letter H have been certified, and we're going to be working through the next section of the alphabet to certify them, and then the third year it'll finish it out. We are accredited, as I've said many times, and there's much work that needs to be done with that. There's a minimum of 267 policies that have to be maintained and kept to the standard, and periodic training schedules, revisions based on changes in the law, or revisions based on best practices. There is we're at 5.0. There's a 6.0 standards that's going to need to be brought online at some point, and again, it's a lot of work. So we have a lot of work going on, but those are the themes I wanted to share with you. Community engagement and trust building, officer wellness, staff development, technology, policies and standards. Really, a good, strong police department has strong policies, strong supervision, and strong people. That's really how you deliver a world-class police department. So we know that call volume's up. I know that in June we had 817 calls, in November we had 1,220. So that's a significant jump, and we anticipate continuing to see that, as well as what we're facing is the complexity of the calls is increasing. More mental health calls, more crisis calls that require more time, and the right people trained the right way. The complexity has increased a great deal. So what I've done before, in preparation for tonight, these are some of the things that I've done. I've spent hours in my conference room filling my whiteboards, brainstorming. I've been out, I did a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis. And I'm here tonight because for me what really stands out, our strengths are our people. We have support of the community. We have a good reputation. We have good level of community trust. We have a lot of strengths. But our weakness is right now we don't have the structure to support the work that needs to be done. and that's what I want to talk to you about tonight. And I'm going to offer an opportunity, and that's the ultimate threat, is that we were to become decertified or fail in the certification process, or fail to bring on the cameras, or fail to meet all those items that I talked about in those 5 buckets. So I did a lot of research. I talked to other departments, other chiefs, other lieutenants, other deputies, other sergeants, other officers over a period of months. I went to comparable communities, and I went online and did research across the country on organizational structure, and there's a vast array of organizational structures in law enforcement, which you wouldn't expect. I saw a lot of titles for positions that I had never heard of. Most recently at the Chiefs Conference, I met some people that were presenting, and it was kind of a seed for what I'm going to be talking to you about tonight. And it goes down to the workload and the current command staff and the structure. And so, again, I want to come to you tonight. I want to tell you where I feel we are, where I feel we need to go, and why. And the other thing I didn't mention is we're trained in the use of the SARA model, and that's how I got here. Is you go out and scan the environment, identify your problem, analyze what's available for possible responses, develop a response. But what I like about this model is there's constant assessment afterwards. So your response isn't digging your heels, this was the right response. Your response is collect data, evaluate it, and pivot, I guess would be the modern term for it, if there's a need. And I like that. So here's what I'm suggesting. So under our existing structure, we have the board, who I report to, a deputy and a lieutenant. We have 6 patrol sergeants, and their main supervision and number is based on span of control. A lot of it has to do with shift and how many people are on the shift, but if you had 10 officers there, you might need to add a higher rank beyond sergeant on that shift, right? So that's about span of control. But when you look to the green, there's a different type of supervision. When you have, say, high-risk things that I'm talking about highly vulnerable people, victims of crimes, our youth. I heard it today in a presentation. Our youth are 20% of our population, 100% of our future, right? So sometimes the function drives the structure. Do you want what sometimes a sergeant brings structure. So the detective sergeant is there for a long term and ensures the evidence room is maintained. That there's audits, and maintains process. So it adds that stability to it. And I believe in this junction in time, in this moment in time, our best opportunity to address the needs of the department today and tomorrow, and have the ability in the future to move forward, is I'm here to garner your support for 2 additional sergeants within the current staffing level. I'm not asking for 2 more bodies. I'm asking for sergeants within our existing staffing. So when it gets built out, there'll still be the same number of officers, but there'll be 2 additional rank structures. And what this does, when you look at this chart, you realize these are people. We need to build an organization where those police officers and the people in police officers see that there's opportunity, and it's not just linear. And that goes towards building a team. And when you see that the green is put an extra level of protection for the department, the community, as a entity, as well as the community as a collection of people, the town, it's built from the bottom up. And what it does is it shows that there's opportunities of advancement, and we want that. We don't want our officers to feel, maybe I'm ex-sergeant, but looking at the sergeants, there's not going to be a lot of movement there for forever. And so it's built from the bottom up. It gives opportunities for advancement. It safeguards the high-risk jobs, and it gets the things done. So what 2 sergeants do am I asking for? Our school resource officers have the most contact with the children of any other officer on a daily basis. We need to build stability into that position, and we need to support that position, and we need someone of rank daily there because it's again, all those things. It's sensitive population. The laws are different. I can't walk into a school and stop being an SRO. There's extensive training for it. There's different laws that relate to when you're acting as the SRO, the standards that you're allowed to do. It's complex, and I believe that it's important for us to have a sergeant in that position. And the second one is the idea that I came back from the Chiefs Conference with was a special projects person. In this case, it would be a sergeant, but it's somebody that can take on and create working groups for short-term projects, as also help support the lieutenant and deputy in maintaining accreditation, in maintaining the body-worn camera program. So what I want to do is build, through this person, an opportunity for them to build working groups on particular projects and particular things that need to be managed. So again, now you're taking our staff that are labeled patrol sergeants and police officer, and then you're moving them into positions where they're learning new skills. I mean, I would love to have a sergeant understand procurement, understand the bid process. I mean, I didn't learn that till I learned it early because I was in that process, but the average sergeant, I wouldn't call on him now, but couldn't walk you through the bid process. What's the threshold for the requirement bid, to put items out to bid, and RFPs and all that. So what I think we need to do today to help support tomorrow and beyond is we need to invest deeply in them. That's why they're the big part of the chart, and the deputy lieutenant and I are the small part, because they're the department. That's what impacts the people the most. That's where all the risk is, and I think this gets us there. So, you know, you have to have a process, right? And this is what my goal is. This is what I'm bringing forth. We've already had the sergeant's positions. The sergeant's test was posted. The exam was given. Interviews were conducted, thanks to HR, and I do an independent assessment. I built an assessment tool with some consult from Human Resources and a subject matter expert, and I do my assessment. Now, as far as fairness and equity, what is nice about that process is I'll get the test score result, but I don't get the interview results until my assessment is completed. So afterwards, I meet with HR and I share my assessment, and then the HR representative from the interview process shares the interview results. And we have a list. We have a list that's been generated, and so that moving forward on choosing the new sergeants is easy. I would, in preparation for promotion of the lieutenant, I would move forward that we start the post a sergeant's exam, because the list will be exhausted if we promote 2. And then come back and promote a lieutenant and a sergeant simultaneously. The structure's built for today, 3 years from now, and into the future, because again, there's constant assessment. If a weakness is determined, or an opportunity is determined, this can be fluid, and I believe in it. One of the things also that I think benefits is we'll be able to get some metrics. If I have a sergeant in place working in the schools every day and supporting school resource officers, I can designate them particular metrics that we want to gather and be able to report that back. The special projects person, they have lots of metrics that they can collect. How many projects did you work on? How many members did you bring in as to your working group? How many hours did you spend on each of these tasks? And, you know, Were there grant monies that were located and identified? So there's a lot of metrics that can be built into these positions. That's a lot of less tangible things that aren't currently collected by our records management, but we can build that on. So tonight, I'm not asking you to vote for anything, but I'd like a consensus if I should go out and work towards bringing you 2 sergeants, because I can't promote, I'm like the fire chief, I'm a strong chief, but I can't hire, I can't fire, and I can't promote it. I would need your promotion, your support for a promotion.
Thank you.
I'm open to any questions.
Really helpful. It's a lot to digest. Let's see. I guess I'll just start with my question. So can this all be done within our existing budget or in our coming budget?
There is an increase in the cost for the officer for the step. It's about, the first time I ran it through was $8,572 on assumption of January 1st start.
And some of these are extended out several, 145 days, so they wouldn't kick in until later anyway.
Exactly.
Cost, okay. All right, let me just see if I have any more questions.
There will be no additional budget request.
Okay. Are there any other questions? I think I had a couple, but if
Real quick, just on the timing of things, so you wanted to, you wanted to promote the 2 new sergeants within 60 days, but then take the sergeant's exam afterwards?
No, the sergeant's exam is to prepare for the promotion of a lieutenant.
Gotcha.
So this list will be exhausted. We'll post a sergeant's exam, and there's a posting period for that according to the policy, and we'll have to let that time run out, then have the test. But in the interim, we'll be prepping for the lieutenant promotion, and the interviews for the sergeant will happen the week after we get the results of the test. So,
okay. So the sergeant's exam is for becoming a lieutenant?
no, the sergeant's exam is for backfilling the lieutenant that will come from the sergeants.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
I do have a couple questions. This is amazing, and I appreciate all of this, Chief. A couple of questions first. This still, I'd just like to understand, I think, from your perspective as the chief, just so, you can just look at the visual, right? You're still up here all by yourself, right? Holding all these ropes that hold the rope, right? So I'd just like to understand how it works best for you and your department, not to start with the lieutenant and get some help. Just in the situation that we're in right now, you don't have your second person. So
yes,
I'd just like to understand the process whereby this makes more sense than filling that role first.
So the second position is unresolved, and at this point in time, I think it would be top-heavy, and I think that this way supports the lower tier more, and I'm confident this can do it. Now, when I say assessment, the time might come where pieces get moved, as part of the assessment. But in this moment in time, after evaluating everything, I believe this is the movement that needs to be made.
And so you project having a lieutenant, I know you did, I don't know if you said it, I know I saw it. You project having a lieutenant to help you, but not for almost, 4 or 5 months?
Yes. Because I need to get the replacement in the field. I can't strip, I don't want to strip supervision. They deserve it, They deserve, and it's not supervision, that sounds, that's not how I would phrase it. They deserve a sergeant with them, help them, mentor them, be available for them, build the team. They deserve that, and you know what? I can grind out a few more months till we get that, make that happen.
Yeah, I so agree with you. One of the, just in my head, a little SWOT analysis too, right? So very often, I do this all the time in my work. Weaknesses can be opportunities, and the opportunities can be weaknesses, right? So when I was thinking about the department, it's such an incredible opportunity to have all these new folks in, right? But it's also, you know, you really want to build your team in a really robust, constructive, vibrant, together fashion. So is that the piece that's going into your thinking with this structure, is that this is the work you need to do to make sure your team is building? Just because we have so many new people.
That's the emphasis on building it from the bottom up. I want to build a solid foundation, and who knows, I may come back to you in 4 months with another ask. You know? That's my job, right? That's exactly what I'm here for.
Yeah, and I appreciate your patience with these questions because, you know, we don't have the day-to-day insight, so this is really important for us to sort of understand what's happening and how things are going for you. I should have started by saying, I feel confident that I'm going to support you in the way that you deliver this. So when I ask questions, it's not particularly because I'm not supportive of your strategy. I really do want to understand it. So I have a couple other questions. One, for example, all that you just laid out there's a lot going on for the Hopkinton Police Department, but police departments everywhere, and you know, the post standards is not a small thing, and the Pro Phoenix is not a small thing. So what is, first of all, I'd like to see a timeline, right? I'd like to see when they're due, how it's benchmarked, and how you're structuring the people that are doing. It can't be all you. Tell me it's not all you doing all those big moving pieces. That's the piece that I think about when I'm looking for that next level person.
Well, this isn't the first time that we were out without the second in command, and I won't get into why. Nothing bad. I'm fortunate that I have a tremendous amount of support within the department. I have a good team that steps in and helps when needed. I have great support from the town hall, and that's how we're able to do it. But what this plan also does is it builds in additional resiliency. We're resilient and I'm resilient, but there is only so much runway. And this, I think, builds us to a place where we can have much more resiliency, because the more I build from the bottom up, the more I can call on. When I have people that have trained and cross-trained, and I have 3 people that know how to do payroll, and I have a sergeant that can come in and do payroll, and I'm working on training 2 more of them. The more I build that, it builds that resiliency and bench depth. When you have a linear command structure, it's essential. So, you know, I need to work with my sergeants, teach them about the budget, teach them how the budget is built, teach them how bills are paid, teach them how to build detail companies. You know, money in, money out. We deal with a lot of money, and we have a lot of payroll with a collective bargaining agreement that we want to adhere to. It's our commitment and agreement. It's our compact with the members of our department. So the job is complex, and I think in this moment in time, this is the greatest need right now. To just plug someone in to just do all this, it leaves us vulnerable, and it doesn't enhance our resiliency.
Yeah. So I'm not arguing with you at all. I appreciate that. What I can't get a handle on is who is really managing, who is the owner of some of these big initiatives that you are undergoing as a department, right? So just to see the timeline and to see who the owner of those tasks and responsibilities are, and understand how you're using those folks, I think would help, so that we have an understanding of how you're implementing all these big pieces, right? And getting some work-life balance, right? That was...
Okay, I would like that too. Thank you for thinking of it.
I know.
That's where I think this gets us. For instance, body-worn cameras. This is an example of how we're getting this done. There are members of the department who are part of the policy committee that will work through building the policy and rolling it out. Most likely, they'll come on the journey and will welcome others on into the selection process. It's only through the team, you know, I don't have time to manage social media. This social media team has been tremendous help. Right, you know, and I am no good on TikTok, so I'm not doing any dances.
I don't think I could spell TikTok.
So I think that I'm thankful, I'm grateful, I'm beyond thankful. I'm grateful for the way in the department we rally around each other, and in the town, the departments rally around each other as well. We are, Norman says it a lot, we're a caring community, and it shows, and the department's been the benefit of that. When we were training a new administrative manager, there were 7 people at Town Hall working to train them fast and get them up to speed. You know, it's a great place to work.
So,
Do you have a couple more? I do have questions.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll wait and ask them again in a minute if somebody else wants to go.
Okay, yeah, why don't we go around?
Yeah, totally
all right,
fine.
so Mary Jo, did you have any questions or comments?
I don't really have any questions. My only comment was that I wanted to congratulate the department and the town on being called the one of the safest communities in the state and the nation, and I think that has something to do with our police department, so I want to congratulate them for that.
That's them.
Congratulations, guys.
Okay. Sherry, did you have? Oh, yeah, sorry.
I just have one more question. The Peace Force, the
Peace officers training.
Peace officers training that's coming up. Do we have any officers attending that?
Oh, it's a whole state program right now.
Yeah, it's a program, you know, but it is the 7th, so.
No, it's a training for us, I think, to understand.
It's for officers too, from what I understand.
Oh, it's on the MMA. The MMA,
Yes.
so it's on the
MMA,
so
yeah.
it's on the new law, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for thinking of us, first and foremost. There's a lot of training that we've had, and there's a lot of training ongoing for us to make sure we can manage it. Thank you, though, for thinking of us.
Sherry, did you have questions or comments?
I do a couple of them. But first of all, thank you, Chief, for the wonderful presentation, and thanks to you and our police department for the wonderful work, dedication, and keeping us safe. And obviously, congratulations on being the safest town in various ranks and various accreditations. A lot of your hard work and a lot of good works at least behind it. So our gratitude and thanks for all of those good work. In terms of the presentation, I have some clarifying question and then some comments. One is that, just from my understanding, what are the POSC and NPAC programs or accreditations are?
The police officer standards and training is a commission that was created to governance over the certification of police officers. So we are now certified and can be decertified. It's something that the chiefs have been fighting for years. It got passed in the broader police reform bill, and what it requires the department to submit certain documents for review, including an interview, which Amy did my interview for me, thank you, or Ms. Ritterbusch, sorry. And I'm subject to it as well. Everybody who has arrest powers in the organization is subject to it. And officers can be decertified based on events that happen. And then as far as MAPC, the Municipal Accreditation Council, they're the entity that gives us our best practices and standards and policies that we work off, and then we have benchmarks that must be met within those policies, and the policies have to contain them, and then they'll come in and review the department to ensure that we're following it. So if you have to have use of force update testing every year, they'll come and ask, where's your training record? Where's your syllabus? Maintain your CPR, maintain your firearms qualification. And that governs that. And there's 267 mandatory policies to be accredited. We have a lot more than that.
Thank you. Thank you. So those are on your roadmap for implementing those or practicing those, right? Or do you already have those in our practice? And if so, do we have a metrics like where do we stand in terms of our entire department 23, 24 delegated officers and their standing with these certifications and accreditations?
Sure. So as far as post, we are fully certified through our letter officers A through H, which is a significant number by their last name. Our accreditation is in good standing. Our maintenance of the accreditation was predominantly handled by the deputy. In fact, he was the champion and did the lion's share of all the work to get us to have us become accredited. The metrics for that would be developing a list of the and time cycle for when these benchmarks have to be hit for retesting, and the deputy has built that, and then making sure that when new policy updates come out, that those are developed and implemented, trained and reviewed and supervised. So that's much ongoing work, but both of those programs are in progress, and we'll continue to create workload as long as we have a police department.
Thank you. And I assume we don't have any decertification instance?
Not an A through H, right?
No, A through H has been certified, including me, and they're...
Thank goodness.
And we didn't pick that from the random order, the state picked the order, right?
Well, in order to help the commission work through it, the commission set the order. They were given a charge, and they said, we can't possibly do this in 1 year. Because they also have to build a building, hire staff. When it was passed, they didn't have anything, not even an email address. So it's a true startup. But
yeah, I'm just thinking the people at home will be wondering why only A through H.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that certainly tells a lot about the quality and high standards of our department. We're very proud of that. Another clarification question. The technology section, you have some references. Can you elaborate on those? I'm not familiar, just for my and I think board's understanding.
Could you repeat that?
On the technology section, you had two items. I didn't have the slide.
Sorry,
Phoenix and
is the new software, right?
We have a lot of technology we use in the police department. One of the biggest things that is a workload issue is the rollout of the new CAD management software and records management software, and that's really a joint effort with police fire communications that's overseen by Director Grissetti, and we meet weekly. There's a lot to it, and we have so many things that we manage when it comes to having to try to keep our website current. The technology, we have technology in the building, access control, video camera system. We are the home base of the video camera system for the town, and then I mentioned the drone as an opportunity to Middlesex savings, but we're surrounded by technology. When they're in their car, there's technology and apps and data being thrown at them. It's very impressive, and I'd be happy to, anybody in the community that ever wanted to see what a what a cruiser looks like, including you guys. Please don't ever hesitate to ask. It's like a cockpit.
Yeah,
literally.
right.
If you have to get in the passenger seat to shuttle the cruiser or something, it's so,
Wow.
Thank you, that's fascinating. Thank you. I think, I'd like to really take up on your offer for some tourists.
I think I will too.
So I wanted to really thank you for putting this all together in a good presentation. You walked us through everything. I thought that was really helpful. It's a lot to kind of digest. As I said, I sometimes have trouble reacting right away to things, but I think that cross-training piece is so important. I know, like myself at work too, we're always saying we got to cross-train our coworkers more but then emergencies always come up and we have to work on that instead. And so I think it's really good that you're planning to plan that into your schedule. Do you have time set aside for people to do their cross-training, I guess, with this new?
Yeah, what we'll do is identify the key tasks that offer the most vulnerability, and then we'll work with those first and identify the people that we want. Some of it is pretty straightforward as far as budget. The budget's built. With the sergeants, I could spend a segment of staff meeting, cover particular topics. I could, the administrative manager is willing to walk them through how to do an E9 and deposit checks into the various accounts. And so definitely it's not, the return on investment of time is going to be well worth every minute of it.
And also, I think the special projects is so important too, because you're going to always, ProPhoenix is fairly new now, but you'll always have other new things that come up. But having somebody who can work on a special project and walk everybody else through it, I think is really good for planning.
Thank you. One of the departments we visited, they actually have an officer who just does ProPhoenix. That's it. Still, and they're 3 years, and they're 3 years into it.
Yeah.
Through the chair, couple more questions when you have the...
Okay, Muriel has more too, so let's,
I don't have a lot. I really appreciate this whole presentation, the time, and I got to tell you, props to the young people in the audience who are sitting so patiently down in this what cannot be an enthralling experience. This is really helpful, and I really appreciate all the thought that went into this. I am particularly interested in sort of the mental well-being piece for you and your department, that kind of thing. And so I'll be interested in hearing how that actually how it is actionable now, how you measure for need and make it actionable as you need it. Most of us are kind of well aware that you do a very hard job at times. That's often invisible to us, particularly, but I don't think that necessarily every day we think about the challenges that police officers in particular face. So I just want to make sure that we really highlight the fact that this town, right, this board, wants to do everything, every piece that we can to invest in sort of really that, I'm not really joking, but you have a huge job, the work-life balance and mental well-being and stress management and all those things. So I'll be interested to hear how that actually is actioned and actionable in your department. And then the other structural piece that you won't believe, but it truly does fascinate me, but I think that needs to happen, is how that continuous, what we call it in healthcare policy, continuous quality improvement. I think you called it like a SARA model. Is that what it is?
It's the assessment portion of the SARA model, yes.
It's very similar. How that impacts, it's a huge job, and it's not a very swanky job to manage all those policies and things like that, but it's really functionally important to stay, current and productive and responsive and so forth. So how that piece is managed, not tonight, but I'm interested in how that really big job is handled over time and what you look at in terms of updating policy or reacting to new needs and that kind of lessons learned, all those things.
Sure. That's easy.
So I'm finally done. Thanks for your patience.
All right, sorry, Jill, did you have a couple more questions?
Yeah, just a couple of clarification comments. So one is, I think you mentioned the calls have gone up by 50%, and I like how you're thinking thoughtfully to accommodate that with the new structure. And I'm sure you'll be monitoring it going forward as well, because it looks like overall the budget is the same, and your first goal is, of course, to use the budget and fill out the current positions to accommodate the high call rate and be prepared for that. Do you see that this rate continue, or was there any particular insight into how the call went up almost double?
I think a portion of that is contributed to the proactivity of the officers. When you bring a staffing level up to where it needs to be, it allows discretionary time where officers can initiate their own activity. When you're running at minimum staffing, their workload is dictated by the phone. So it doesn't allow them the time to do the high-value things like that we value here in this community, to go out and do individual community engagement, to get out and talk to the kids. We don't want an environment where they're bouncing call to call. And there is an analytical structure for staffing where the chief would determine how much free time you want. You build in all their administrative time and their on-call time.
I'm sorry to be breaking up.
Okay. So I guess the point of the answer is we want our officers to have free time so they can do their own initiatives and activities that we want them to do, the things that are valued. We want them to be able to spend an extra 20 minutes in someone's kitchen that has just lost someone. We want them to be able to get out of the car and talk to a resident or talk to a young person, a child, about wearing a helmet. That's the type of service that this community expects, and we need to make sure we give enough time to do that. We don't want to be run to call to call. And I believe that when we build it out, we'll be there if the call volumes stays at this level.
Actually, yeah, I couldn't agree more that the justification is definitely sounds very much needed, right? Very convincing. And I just request to monitor it and come back to us if you see that capacity and growth in all these sections are becoming an issue sooner rather than later. And of course, we are also cognizant of budget and all, but safety, security, and support for police is on our prime priority list, of course. So we want to make sure that happens. On a similar note, I don't know if this is a question for you or in general. I had asked it before. When we were visiting the dispatcher regionalization topic, I came to know that our dispatcher communication system is 30 years old. So it sounds awfully old. What's your perspective on that? And what was was it not a priority? How did it prolong so much? I'm just curious, and the reason is making sure, if there are any other urgent or immediate such areas that we should know about and can help you or help the department and town administration, I'd like to understand and hear that as well.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you brought that up. So presently, the maintenance of the radio system is under Director Durad's purview. The system is not 30 years old. There are major components that are 1 year old. There are pieces that are 30 years old from original installation, and one of them is a critical piece. Of that component, there's 2 of them, and we've replaced 1. We also built in redundancy so that if that one fails, we have a way to make the new one the primary. So either one can act as the primary. And that's something that Director Durad has brought in since coming in. We are in need of a major investment. Right now, we're running an analog radio over from a digital platform. So everything's coming in on fiber and then getting switched back to analog. We have some areas of concern within the community we want to address. Ms. Lazarus is working with Director Durad to replace one of our towers that suffered a lightning strike and is down, and she's been working diligently on that, as well as finance to work through purchasing. So there are components that are new, there are components that are very old, and there are components that are non-functional right now. So.
Thank you for that clarification. Certainly, I think you're on the expert, so we look up to you to evaluate and keep it on your radar like you're doing, and let us know. And as you are seeing in our strategic goals, digitization, modernization, those are one of our key goals as well. And we'd like to have an ongoing conversation as to what are the key and new or potentially modern capabilities that could help your department further. So thank you again for a very informative and wonderful discussion. We appreciate your and your department's service.
I think you mentioned that the Pro Phoenix will have more data sharing capabilities and reporting that you can do and share with us in the future.
It will. And more forward-facing.
What's that?
More forward-facing data.
Yeah, I think the public will really enjoy that.
Easily consumed, which is, as we're building it, it's not very consumable or user-friendly. Visually
once you
pleasing.
get it all set.
So we're building it.
Okay, yeah, I think people love to see analysis of where there are more accidents or where there's more speeding or, other different
heat maps.
types of calls, yeah, things like that. Okay, that's great. I think we've covered that, right? We're good for now. Do you need to vote for us on this, or?
Did you just need general support?
I just want to know that if I come before you with two sergeants, that you would support it. I don't want to bring forward two officers and have them.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
I can tell you that you have my support.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think definitely we're supportive, and if anything else that we can be supportive of, just let us know.
Thank you very much for your time and the excellent dialogue. It's a great opportunity for me to communicate with you and the public, so I'm grateful for that.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
That was the fun stuff.
Now you guys stay stupid, right? One more.
See, one little guy's been very patiently waiting.
Okay, and so now we will interview and consider appointing Augusto Diaz Jr. as a police officer in the town of Hopkinton. Okay, and then...
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, so usually we get a little introduction first.
Sorry, but it's on.
Oh, no worries.
I would be remiss to not start the conversation to thank the officers and sergeants who worked through the candidate pool to bring this amazing candidate before you tonight. HR has been tremendously supportive of my department, and I know that they're working with many departments, and their workload is very heavy as well. So thank you, everybody that brought Augusto to us. I'm really proud to have him here, and one of the things I'm most proud of is he was sought out by department members. They're building their team. They're finding their peers, as I said, and they really did a good job in Augusto. I'm excited to bring him on. I'll talk a little bit about the basics, but then I'm sure you're going to want to hear from him. He's again, he has a lovely family. So he is a fully trained police officer. He graduated from the 28th MPTC ROC Boylston. He has a Bachelor's of Arts in History and a minor in Sociology, which we welcome, diverse educations. He has experience in emergency patient registration, which is a very customer service-oriented position, to helping people in crisis. He's a project manager at the Latino Education Institute at Worcester State University. He was a police officer security at Safety Aid for a while at UMass Medical School, and he served as, he is fluent in Spanish and English. He was nominated for a student leader, a community achievement recipient from the Worcester Dollar of Scholars just last year, and he just, you wait till you hear him. You're gonna so have at him.
Thank you.
Well, welcome, and thank you for waiting
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so it's really exciting that you have friends in the department. So it's really nice when you start a new job and you know at least someone. So we're really glad to have you. I'm glad that you're recruiting new people. Let's see. Does anyone want to start the questions, or would you like me to? Okay. Total picking. Let's see here. Okay. What message might you share with prospective recruits regarding community policing? So,
I think just sitting here and just seeing what Chief Bennett has been proposing, and just a strategic plan that the town has along with the police department. When I was doing my own research, just really seeing what the department wants to see moving forward, I saw that just how important this town really looks at community policing. How, as we said, it's one of the safest towns in the state, and that attributes to just community policing and just the transparency between the department and the community, and just everyone on the same page.
Great, thank you. Okay, so to go next?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi, Lisa, how are you?
Good, how about yourself?
Fantastic. So, Town of Hopkinton has adopted the pledge principles and actions on systemic racism in our community and other communities. That pledge reaffirms Hopkinton's ongoing commitment to address systematic racism, social injustice, and inequity in governance and provisions of services to Hopkinton residents and businesses. What ways do you think you could support that pledge?
While I was undergoing the process here for Hopkinton PD, I was actually informed that I'd be the first Latino police officer in the town. I think that being a Latino and a person of color, and also having over 10 years of experience working with families and youth in the city of Worcester, which we all know has a very diverse socio and economical background, I think that I can bring my experience and my knowledge, not only of being a person of color, but working with other people of color as well, to the town of Hopkinton.
Thank you. I can go next. Yep. So born and brought up in Worcester?
Yes, ma'am.
Me too.
Well, I was actually born in New York, Manhattan.
Okay, I was born in Worcester. At any rate, it's awesome to have you here. I'm going to ask the question on crisis intervention, helping individuals experiencing mental and behavioral health emergencies. So this is a real vibrant, emerging field, and it's challenging, right? So tell me a little bit about your experience, or what you hope to see develop in that area.
Well, I do know that the department has a partnership with a clinician that goes for crisis. I have my background working for UMass Medical School. We had a behavioral health unit, which primarily a lot of our calls were crisis management, intervention, de-escalation. I'm very fortunate that I have the gift of gab and just the ability to really just empathize with individuals. Again, I have over 10 years of experience with people in the city. Our youth, as we all know, have really been affected by COVID and just this COVID skip year, that's what we call it in the schools, and just really being mindful and having these conversations that a lot of people need to have, and just having the ear. Just empathizing that everyone is going through something. And with that background that I have working with youth and families, along with as a police officer at UMass in those units, I think it's very important.
It's exciting. We're really thrilled to have you.
All right, Mary Jo?
Oh, yeah, I think my question is, if you became a Hopkinton police officer, how would you build a relationship with the rest of the force, with the other police officers that are there?
I again, I'm very fortunate that there's officers here that I don't really even know that are here to support me. It really shows that the chief has, I'm supported by my chief. I'm supported by other officers, sergeants that really want me to feel welcomed. All I can offer is that I'm going to be myself every single day that I come to work. What you see is what you get. I'm just very, very fortunate, very blessed to be a part of a community within a community. And Chief Bennett has really, expressed the importance of the department be a part of a community and the community having our support.
Okay, did you have a question?
Sure, yeah. First off, thanks for choosing our town, and you have a wonderful background, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
My question is, coming from, your current to a town police department like ours, what do you see as the learning opportunity, and how do you prepare yourself to be ready for that?
Thank you for your question. I think comparing the city of Worcester and Hopkinton, it's very different. But I'm up for the challenge. I think it's really just getting to know the community, getting to know the local business owners, just walking the streets. I'm very, very, very interested in a school resource officer position, or if I'm not a school resource officer, just being a part of any activities that we have in town for youth. That's my bread and butter. I really enjoy working with youth and their families and really showing, not that I'm just an officer, but I was a kid once growing up, and without the support that I had from my mentors, I wouldn't be here today, the individual that you see.
That's great to hear. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. So,
I'll make a motion.
Yeah. Norman, do you have anything to add? Are you good?
No, nothing to add. Just enjoying the conversation. Thank you.
Okay, yes, I think we're ready for motion.
We find it. Do I have it?
I have it. Want me to do it?
Okay. I move that we appoint Augusto Diaz Jr. as a police officer for the town of Hopkinton.
Second.
Okay. And a roll call vote?
Muriel Kramer, yes.
Bonus Rulli, yes.
Mary Jo Lafreniere, yes.
Charles Mahan, yes.
Amy Roderbush, yes. Okay, well, welcome. We're
Welcome
very
to
happy
the
for
force.
Thank you.
Downstairs.
Really glad to have you. Is your family?
Yes, my wife. I've been with my wife 15 years.
I think
Amazing.
My mother, my sister, my nephew Liam, and Victoria.
Oh my gosh, what a great job they did.
I think we're keeping up a future police officer. Yes.
I'm actually the first person to call on the select board.
Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations.
We're a growing community.
Thank you.
Yeah. What a beautiful job you in particular did. I know everybody did a good job, but you set the bar so high. What a patient job. Yes.
Future police officer. Not
Yeah, get a picture of the whole family. In they go.
Okay, I have a question.
Uh-oh.
I'm looking at every police officer here, and I'm wondering if they're becoming brothers of the book.
You see that organization, Movember?
They do it,
No shade.
and they do it on purpose, and they call it brothers of the book. It's asking for some kind of charity.
I'm sure that's
So
what
I
they're
was wondering
doing.
if they were.
I know, it is. I love it. All right, that's a good-looking picture there. Let's hope John doesn't mess it up.
2 more. One more.
His math is not fabulous.
Sorry. All right, thanks.
Take over the board.
Okay.
Yes.
Stick around, we'll look around. Everybody else?
Thanks for being here, everybody. It's awesome. The fishing hat?
All right.
So we'll get that last time. Yep. Come on, Elaine. Yeah, jump in, come on.
Sorry. I'll make sure we get it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for hanging in there. How old are you? Whoa, you did an amazing job. That's incredible.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Everybody. Good to see you.
Congratulations on your application.
Oh, really? Yeah. Similar to
If you guys don't get the you have to stick around for a while.
Not too much more?
It's just the manager's report, right?
No question.
Yeah?
Right. Just, wow. All right.
Police officer.
Town manager has several items, so.
This is towards the end, though, right?
We're gonna make it.
Okay, so town manager's
Turn
report.
into a pumpkin at a certain point.
Oh, tell me this report.
Yes.
Yeah, in your packet, I included the Main Street Corridor project update from Dave and Michelle, as well as updates on PFAS and the Southborough Interconnection Project. In terms of PFAS, needs to be said, our numbers are not getting any better, as you can see. And in terms of the Southborough Interconnection Project, in fact, the Chair, John, Dave, and I will be meeting with our counterparts from Southborough to start talking about the letter of intent. What we heard from Southborough is that they've already worked out a framework in terms of what they will be looking for, and they want to convey that to us. And then the FY24 budget update. I'm pleased to report that the FY 2024 budget process is progressing. The Capital Improvement Committee has reviewed all the requests by town hall departments. It has meetings scheduled in the coming 2 weeks to review the requests from the Hopkinton Public Schools, as well as the Community Preservation Committee's project list. I've already scheduled 2 budget listening sessions, one held at the Select Board meeting. We scheduled another one at the Senior Center. A 3rd session will be held with the business community this Thursday, December 8th at 8 a.m. HCAM Studios. We are developing plans for additional sessions, specifically trying to reach out to the school parent-teacher organizations in the community. we're working with the school superintendent to schedule those in the coming weeks. I can also report that we have completed the departmental budget submission review. I'm working with the finance team to develop a balanced budget for presentation to the select board in January. We're still working towards closing the budget gap, which is about $1 million, as we develop the operating budget. I'm also looking closely at potential sources of funds and budget requests to develop options for addressing that shortfall. While the operating budget remains challenging, much of our attention is on the 5-year capital plan. There's a reason why I mentioned the 5-year capital plan. The plan does show a list of potential needs totaling nearly $300 million over the next 5 years. Please note that none of those projects have been put forward for a vote. The list to be considered at the May annual town meeting is well under $10 million. But in considering the FY 2024 budget, it is essential that we keep in mind this colossal bow wave of potential funding requests entering our planning horizon. Just to provide some scale to this challenge, the town's current general fund debt is $73 million. Adding $300 million in new debt to that balance, along with interest payments, would lead to about a 5-fold increase in the town's debt burden. So, I'm working with staff on 2 tracks. First, short-term preparations for the decisions that need to be made at the May 2023 annual town meeting. And second, on analysis work on scenarios the town may face over coming years due to the emerging requirements for the large-scale capital spending. I know that this is an item of interest to the board. We'll certainly be bringing the finance team to dive deeper into this topic. We also, at the beginning of the budget process, made mention of adding participatory budgeting to our capital planning process. In the packet, I included an outline of how we will actually get to that point. First, beginning with the definition of the rules for that process. I'm working with the new town accountant and we'll also be dragging in Elaine in doing that, and we hope to issue those rules by the end of this week. We will then follow up with a very robust effort to bring the public to understand this new addition to the budget process. Our goal there is to help the public understand how to put together a proposal. The public obviously has great ideas, but they may not be familiar with the technical side of ensuring that the projects that they move forward are feasible. Following that, we will then outline a plan for accepting the submissions from the public. Following that, we'll then have an evaluation process. This being the first year, I will limit the evaluation team to town staff. Thinking of individuals from the finance department, project management department. We brought in Nicole, who's working with John and Dave and is doing a fabulous job in that regard. We'll invite her into the process. We'll also have the assistant town manager participate. The goal then being to identify a project or a project in the amount of perhaps $100,000 that will be included in the capital budget proposal by the town manager that will be submitted to the select board and then hopefully eventually to town meeting for approval. Again, how do we fund this? Hopefully we'll find this from free cash.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is new, so that's interesting. Let's see, and it says something about how the risks are that a special interest group might try to take over the process and push their project forward.
Exactly.
Okay.
That happens with any public
All right.
process. There are groups that are great at doing this, that are more organized, and will
Okay.
attempt to dominate the process.
So when will that happen, that people will sort of get to vote on the project, or what? Us?
The town meeting will actually vote on the pay-as-you-go project list. It
Okay.
will include that project.
Okay.
However,
But how will-
long term, our goal is to transition away from a staff evaluating team to a community broad-based team that will evaluate the projects. That's long term.
All right, well, that's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
All right, did anyone have questions on the town manager's report? Any items?
I'm good.
Good. I love the participatory budget idea. It would be interesting to see how it goes. I think it's a really. Oh, I did have one question. I know we didn't necessarily get listening sessions advertised really early. How did it go at the senior center?
Yes, I had that question too, yeah.
I'll let, through the chair, I'll let Mary Jo respond to the question. She was there.
How many people come?
None.
None? Oh.
All the department heads were there, school department, everybody. And we were the only people, and Elaine also, and we were the only people in the room. And it was well publicized and everything. But I think the crux of trying to do it for seniors is that the seniors that go to the senior center all pretty much live in the senior housing, so they're not paying taxes. So the budget doesn't mean a terrible lot to seniors who aren't paying any taxes. So what we really need to do is somehow get the seniors that are still in their homes. They're the ones that are interested, and that occurred to me while I was there, that may be a big part of the problem, is we have to find out who is of age and living on their own property. They would be more interested.
Well, every time something like this happens, it's an opportunity to learn from it and for next year to do
Yeah,
differently.
I mean, this isn't the first time it happened. As I told Norman when I worked for the senator, we did a cyber thing back when, with the police, we had the police departments and everybody lined up and nobody showed. Nobody thought their kids were going to get in any kind of cyber trouble. Anything was going to happen, and it was early, and boy, then there was a human cry for it a year or two later, so, you know.
So I appreciate your
These things happen.
your perspective on that, but I think, it's the same thing with town meeting. Sometimes it's a struggle to just get a quorum, and I think, we can advertise it all we want, but getting the people to come is,
Yeah, it's the trick.
they just don't.
Well, I almost said to her, and that woman get up and said, nobody knows about this, and nobody, and she was sort of saying, which is fine. I mean, I understand what I was going to say. Welcome to our world, because it's difficult, and it's a shame, but we were there.
Okay.
Good.
So I'm going to piggyback on that a little bit. For the Main Street Quarter project, there was just this long complaint thread about it on Facebook today. Does this project even have an end date? Surely why can't they provide this? And I'm like, it's in our packet every week that the project end date is October 22nd, 2023. So I'm just going to state that out loud. And phase 1 and 2 are now complete, it says. So, and then phase 3 is going to start in April after the marathon. So, and phase 3 is the last phase. So I feel happy that we're 2/3 done at least.
Over the hump. A lot of progress,
Yeah,
I'm seeing the bike
I know.
lane go in, I'm seeing the sidewalks getting prepped, and it seems to be moving along well.
Yeah, and then about, I feel like I had one more question, sorry, just a sec, about that. Go ahead, I'll think of it. Go ahead.
I'm just pleased to see the progress, and also hear that we're tracking to October 2023. You're seeing the differences, and it's shaping up well, so thanks to everyone for all the good work. In terms of budget, because of the changes and others, Norman, I think we had an open question. Is it going to impact anything on the budget in terms of additional cost for the recent modifications or adjustments that we had to do? Do you have any update on that?
Yes, I can confirm we did receive now written notice that Mass DOT will cover the costs on the southern side. We are continuing to evaluate what we may need to do on the northern side.
Excellent, thank you.
I remember my question. The emergency preemptive system, is that now functioning as part of, say, phase 2?
No, not yet.
No, it's not. Do we know when?
Next year.
Oh, not till next year. Okay, oh, that's too bad. Okay. All right, and then the other question, these could be for the next forum thing, but so how will the emergency preemptive system work if the dispatchers are not on Main Street as they are now? They were going to be the ones that control it, I think, right? So anyway, that's just, if you don't know the answer, you can just find it out later. And the same thing, we get a lot of public records requests, and we'll get them after we have body cams too, and with our new software. How will public records requests for the fire police be handled if dispatch is regional, not local? And
the public record request goes through the chief's office.
It'll go through so it will still stay the same?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. I think those are my remaining questions, so liaison reports and board invites?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I've been to the Sustainable Green Committee Monday night, last night, and they had a lot of questions, and one of them is they would like direction from the select board, and the school committee was, one of the school committee members was also there, and what we want to do in the future, what we want to require for sustainable projects as they're being built. And just to put it in a little bit of perspective, they don't want to have to put solar on top of buildings after the fact, because that costs more money. So they want some direction from us as to what that we want written into the contracts that makes the buildings criteria. And they would like to not only do this with us, but with the planning board, the zoning board, and how can we get us all together? They have some great ideas. They've made some good progress. They've got some great background information. They would like to do a presentation for us soon, and but the big thing they were looking for is guidance on how to ask for sustainable green things in projects that are coming up rather than later, while they're being built, rather than once they're done, and then having to spend all the money to redo something.
So maybe we can have them come in the new year?
Yeah, if I may add, I think we should also commend them for being proactive. I can see them getting involved in some of the large capital projects that are under discussion in town, and they are raising questions pertaining to climate change, net zero obligations, and so forth.
Okay, and then the other one, it was the MWRTA is going electric. All their buses are going to be electric from now on, and they're going to be able to, plug in at night at the MWRTA in Framingham. And because of that, they are asking, perhaps, our senior center will get one of their buses that they're expending. Although they won't be electric, but we may be getting another bus in town from the MWRTA for the senior center.
That's cool. That's great, yeah.
So
that's all I have.
Okay. For liaison invites and events, I wanted to mention we got contacted by Boy Scout Troop 4. They have some new Eagle Scouts that they would like to come before the board. So if we could schedule them maybe in the new year, that would be great. And also in February, they're having the Eagle Court of Honor. So if
on Sunday the 12th, I think I have it here, yeah.
All right, so if one of us could go, that would be nice.
On Sunday? February 12th?
What's that?
February 12th?
February 12th, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I forgot to write down the location.
It's on my other calendar. I didn't bring my next year's calendar. I still got this year's.
And the Such is having their Diwali Gala this
Yep.
weekend, so if anyone is interested in that.
That's Saturday night.
At the HCA. Yep.
I will be away.
What's it?
Democrat.
Oh, Sunday.
Not here.
Sunday.
Okay. Friday we can get it.
Okay, I think that's all I had. Anyone else?
Yep, I have I've been to a couple CBC meetings. They are hard at work, lots of requests in front of them, so appreciate their due diligence and look forward to seeing what pops out of that process. I also went to the Trails Management Committee meeting. I finally found the Trails Management.
Oh, Trails Management, okay.
So they're actually really, it's, obviously populated with a lot of really enthusiastic trails users. Awesome for us. And doing a little bit of work and research to find out, what we can do to sort of increase the use of trails and mitigate for people's reluctance to use trails and sort of, continue to sort of build the trail or the use of trails. So I thought that was really interesting and good for them. And then the other thing is also, it's rather something for a future agenda. And I think we probably have to look at that future agenda list again. But I did have a long conversation with the outgoing chair of the Youth Commission. And I think that it would be interesting to find out, from the committee what kind of supports they need or what might be sort of, keeping them from getting the kind of momentum that they might want to get, that kind of thing. So it was interesting that an idea that we would maybe look at the actual charge and ask for some feedback and how it's going. It's been a year and a half since sort of a newly re-energized youth commission, but it's also all new, really all new folks and so forth. So
that was good that you met with her,
yeah,
I think.
it was accidental, but it was a nice opportunity. We had a really nice talk. So
okay, that's great. Yeah. And that reminds me, for future, we have a joint meeting with Appropriations and School Committee this Thursday. I think at 6:30, which I think we can join on Zoom if necessary. But
I don't think we can do. The student said that there's no Zoom link for it.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, it has to be
no Zoom
all in
link
person.
It's an HCAM. So, yeah.
why no Zoom link? I'm curious.
We don't know. School committee decision.
They don't Zoom?
Well, they do sometimes. Huh.
You can watch on YouTube, but I don't believe you
But
can
you
Zoom.
can't comment. Okay.
It's also Troop 4's big hoopla that night.
It's what?
Troop 4's 50th anniversary
Yes.
celebration that night.
Oh.
So I just kind of noticed that.
Same time too?
hiccup.
7:30 at St. John's, I believe.
I saw 6:45. Is it 7:30? I think
Mike was in my office this afternoon and said 7:30.
I think they're having their court of honor ahead of time, so I'll probably go from the meeting over, but.
Okay, well, if anybody can't come, then I guess you can watch it on YouTube and send questions later.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll be away, so.
Yeah, I will ask about that if they can't do a Zoom link, but,
Is it too late for them to do a Zoom link?
doesn't seem.
Since the agenda's been posted?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah, I think you're right, I think, well, maybe they don't know we might need it, so I'll ask about that.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, we've done future agenda items and liaison reports. Did you have anything, Shadul?
No, not at this time, thank you.
Okay.
All right, then, Madam Chair, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
Second.
All right, roll call vote.
Muriel Kramer, yes?
Oh,
Defiance
I'd like to, no.
Discussion.
Really, it has to do with the meeting, but it doesn't, but Bob Falcione is retiring, and I just want to thank him and Hop News for all they've done for the town in the last good number of years. He's done a good job for us.
Good job, Muriel.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you very much for all this good work and keeping us up to date for so many years, great dedication. Enjoy your retirement, well deserved.
Okay, now roll call vote for.
Now we're done.
Irfan Ashuli, yes.
Mary Jo Lafreniere, yes.
Shahid Manan, yes.
Amy Ritterbush, yes. Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right, 9 o'clock, sorry guys.
Thank you.